In the late 90s, a very popular Japanese game show tortured a man for a year and broadcast it every Sunday night. This isn't like reality TV where it's all fake and scripted, not to ruin Christmas for all the believers out there. This was legitimately torturing another human being for the sake of entertainment. And it was extremely popular, averaging 17 million viewers every Sunday night that they'd play the clips. That's absolutely massive even by today's standards. It's more viewers than the last 4 years of the NBA Finals and the World Series, and obviously more than most television shows get. For reference, The Boys season premiere got around 8 million viewers, and according to YouTuber Atrocity Guide, who also covered this story, the most viewed episode of Game of Thrones got around 16 million viewers, so it even beats that. Just an absolutely massive success, but it doesn't stop there. The producers knew there was still a little milk left in those teats and they wanted to suckle. So they actually turned it from just a weekly broadcast into a full-blown live stream where you could log on online and watch him suffer in real time. So whenever you were just feeling particularly quirky, you could hop in there and watch a man be miserably tortured for the better part of a year. Doesn't that sound like fun? What a great way of starting the day. A nice bowl of cereal and milk for breakfast and watching a man's sanity slowly deteriorate as he dances around naked in absolute agony. Wonderful. This is the story of Nasubi. As I briefly mentioned, another YouTube channel named Atrocity Guide made a great video on this topic, but I wanted to go even deeper. So we, Caleb, Chelsea, and I, really did a fucking thorough deep dive, spreading the foul cheeks of this situation wide open, going through live streams, all of the broadcast clips, in order to really get a handle on just how vile this whole thing was. So let's begin. In 1998, a popular Japanese game show named Susanoo Dimpa Shonen held a raffle to find their next contestant for an upcoming show they were working on called A Life of Prizes. Nasubi ended up winning the lottery and was ecstatic. He believed this was going to be a big break for him since he was also an up-and-coming comedian, and he was escorted to a small apartment where he was then instructed to take off all of his clothes in order to participate in the game. The challenge was he would have to survive in this apartment on nothing but his winnings from sweepstakes. They only provided him with water, and he was told that he would not be allowed to leave or communicate with the outside world or have any access to anything that he didn't directly earn through magazine sweepstakes. He was told that he'd need to win 1 million yen, which at the time, 1998, was right around 8,000 US dollars, through only mail-in magazine sweepstakes in order to complete the challenge and be released from the room. And yes, this does include food. They didn't provide him with any food. The only food he'd have access to is the food that he earns through mail-in sweepstakes. It just feels like there were better odds of a bird carrying $10,000 in its mouth crashing through the apartment window than actually earning 10 grand through mail-in sweepstakes. This shit is like something you would actually hear of like fucked up prison guards at Guantanamo Bay doing as like a joke or something. It's so cruel and brutally difficult. But Nasubi did actually pull it off. It took Nasubi 335 days total to finally make enough money to be released from it. Or at least, so you'd think. This is actually only the tip of the iceberg here, but I just want to give you the story in a nutshell. And I also want to explain the name Nasubi, because that's not actually the contestant's real name. His actual name is Tomoaki Hamatsu. The name Nasubi actually means eggplant, and he got this because the producers used an eggplant to censor his genitals for the broadcast, and they also said that his head resembled the shape of an eggplant. The whole point of the Susanoo Dimpa Shonen broadcast here was to laugh at Nasubi, and people were. 17 million people having an old hoot and a holler, real side-splitting comedy, watching a man be legitimately tortured. Nasubi believed that he was being recorded and that the clips were going to be re-edited and broadcast for TV. So he would come in and like update people on what he's doing, like, I just won this can of cat food, I just won this bicycle, and then he'd like dance around and try and make it entertaining, but he never knew that he was being live streamed the whole time. He was under the impression that it was just going to be moments from the challenge. Not that every excruciating second of this challenge was being broadcast to all of Japan. Extremely fucked situation, and this is just the bare outline of it. What I want to do for this video is actually go through a lot of clips and moments from this live stream and the broadcast, as well as just everything surrounding it, because it is so baffling. It is bizarre that this actually happened. I remember Vsauce did a video on what happens to the mind when you're cut off from stimulation in the outside world for an extended period of time. And unsurprisingly, it is so psychologically damaging to be completely alone and isolated like Nasubi was. And Vsauce only did like a few days. Nasubi did over a year, 15 months total.
Wait. なんと脱いで
書いていると
はい。
誰かが来た、
はい、
宅急便、
やった来た第1号
気分フードケミファさんのファイバーゼリー12個入りでございます。
いただきます。
This was Nasubi's first big win, a fat dubski. He was able to secure 12 pots of fiber jelly. I don't know what the fuck fiber jelly is. I've never heard of it in my life. That sounds like a made-up substance in the movie Snowpiercer, but it was huge for Nasubi because it's his first bit of food since this started, so he was extremely hungry and was able to get some nutrients. This wasn't the first thing he applied for, though. The first sweepstakes he was entering were for clothing items. He wanted to cover up, obviously, because being naked is going to be cold, uncomfortable, especially since it's being filmed. So he had applied for an apron first, but he didn't win.
やった！また何か当たったんだ。
はい。
お名前出してもらいたいと思いまして。
あ、はい、わかりました。はい。
当然か？
まずラーメン。全部で1700円になります。すいません、間違えました。
Obviously, since Nasubi was trapped in isolation, cut off from the rest of the world, he cherished every single knock at that door. It was the only bit of human interaction he gets. So he'd get excited, and of course he's expecting to win something, since why else would someone be knocking at the door? So he gets really hyped up, like, hey, finally something came that's going to help me get closer to completing this challenge, or maybe it's food and I'm starving. But that wasn't always the case. Like in these two clips here, sometimes it was just fucking cruel, where a postman knocked on his door just to let him know that he needs to put his name on the mailbox or some shit, and then also someone put the wrong address for a ramen delivery, so he couldn't even have the ramen after smelling it. It was just really sad to see.
米か？
でんでねー。
米だ。ナスビ、米。
お米5キロです。
Finally, it seems fortune's looking up for Nasubi here. He's able to secure 5 kilograms of rice. But then things get heartbreaking when he realizes he has no way of cooking the rice, because he'd need to win a pot from a sweepstakes in order to use it. So he just has 5 kilograms of rice that he can't cook. It's fucking terrible. You know, like it's a treasure that you can't have. So he gets desperate and he starts resorting to eating the rice raw.
ママグロをかじる。
お願いします。おかゆにでもちゃんとなってください。申し訳ないですけどね。ちょっとこれは失敗じゃないですか？ちょっと待って。ちょっと待ってよこれ。
実験成功。
見て。
Unable to continue eating the rice raw, Nasubi knew he needed to find some way to cook it, so he went full fucking Jimmy Neutron here. He hatched an idea to put the rice into one of the jelly fiber containers, and he put hot water in it, left it out overnight, hoping to make it somewhat cooked. As you can see in the clip, he said, even if it's gruel, just make it into something. It didn't work at all. So he came up with another plan to put it in the fiber jelly container, put it in the hot water, and set it next to the gas burner, so that way it would kind of cook it by proxy. And this worked. It was able to cook the rice, and now he had an efficient way of actually eating that rice that he'd won.
自転車に乗ってご飯が食える。幸せだな僕は。ね。
Slowly but surely, Nasubi was chipping away at that million yen goal, winning more and more prizes, such as a bicycle, which on the surface seems pretty useless since he couldn't take it outside, but he turned it into a stationary bike, and I'm sure that was like a good way of stimulating him, because what the fuck else are you gonna do? So he'd eat his watery rice while pedaling on the bicycle, and he started gathering more and more winnings. It started to look like my fucking dorm room from college, just a bicycle and all kinds of miscellaneous shit all over the place.
来ましたね、見事に。いやいや、やってみるもんですね。ほら。
お米の炊き方98年3月版ニューバージョンです。
やっちゃってるよ、これ。もう。トレビアン。
He also upgraded his whole cooking operation by using a pin and a can of sake. He was able to create a pretty efficient cooking apparatus, so he was able to make rice more efficiently. He was even able to cook spaghetti now. So he was really like climbing up the tech tree here by just being an absolute fucking genius. And it's also worth noting some of the more useless things he won, like the bicycle, wasn't entirely worthless because that helped increase the value of his winnings, bringing him closer to that million yen mark. So even if he couldn't get a ton of usage out of it directly, just having it in the room was beneficial because it gets him closer to being done with the challenge.
瞬間が訪れようとしている。しかし、
でも、ちょっと厳しいね。こんな
小さすぎた。
こんな感じになっちゃうね、ちょっとね。
Now, it's been about 2 months in this clip here, and according to Atrocity Guide, Nasubi submitted 5,748 sweepstakes entries in the first month. So you can imagine that he's right around that 11,000, 12,000 sweepstake entry ballpark, and he is just now winning his first article of clothing, which are used panties from someone named Hitomi-chan. I want to say I had no idea the used panty market spanned this far back in time. This is 1998. I thought soiled panties, used socks, and bathwater were things women started selling within the last decade to take advantage of like internet sales. I had no idea that this was a popular market all the way back into the 90s. But anyway, Nasubi wins these panties. It's his only article of clothing he's won so far, but they don't fit, unfortunately.
名前つけてあげないとね、かわいそうだね。そうだ。ナスビのお友達でビーナス。ビーナスちゃんと
ナスビ、ビーナス連れて初めてのお散歩。
お散歩。
I found this one to be extraordinarily sad, so still around 2 months now. He's had no contact with any human beings aside from the delivery guy just dropping off his winnings. He wins a stuffed seal which he names Binasu and takes him for a walk. It's his only source of companionship. That shit just breaks my heart to see. I'm not gonna lie.
すげえ肉だ。5枚の肉。
貧乏芸人の日常生活においてステーキの4文字なんて想像だにしなかった。
肉をボールペンに刺して炙り始めた。5分後。
美味しそう。
ナスビにとって最高級の食べ物、ステーキを今まさに食べようとする瞬間。
This is his first time winning a direct source of protein. Up until this point, his diet was mainly just the rice and like spaghetti. So he'd be getting trace amounts of protein, but never something like steak. His macros had to be so fucked from this, but he finally gets steak, and he cooks it by using a ballpoint pin to cook it over the direct flame, and he gets to eat it and is super happy about it. I'd also like to highlight something in that note he wrote. He said, in the life of a poor comedian, he's only used the word steak in his imagination. I think this is big because prior to this challenge, Nasubi wasn't a popular comedian in Japan. He wasn't well off or anything like that. This was his big break, which is why he was so excited to be part of this show. And then he gets tortured. It's so fucking cruel. Like, you can't help but feel absolutely horrible for this guy.
当たった。
電車でガッ。
さらに
専用コントローラー好き。
運転手はナスビ、車掌はビナスってな風に。
かな。
加熱しないで食べるつもりだ。
うん。全然いける。美味しい美味しい。うん。すべてヴィーナス君のおかげだ。
He wins a PlayStation game as well as a special controller for it, but he doesn't have a PlayStation or a TV to play it on. He then also wins raw pork and raw crab and eats it raw because he didn't really have an efficient way of cooking those. And you can see that he talks a lot to the stuffed seal. This is very much like a Castaway situation with Wilson. When you're deprived of human contact for as long as Nasubi has been, you start to try and find ways of being social. Humans are social creatures by nature, which is why it's so torturous to be deprived of that. It's fucking brutal. It's been right around 3 months by this point, and he is not even halfway done to the million yen goal.
3ヶ月ぶりの掃除スタート。
まあ1は映んねえのか。アップするよこれで。
そのものとは
歯ブラシと歯磨きのセットです。
He's able to win a vacuum cleaner, which enables him to clean the room for the first time in 3 months, and then wins a TV, which would have been great because he'd finally have some source of entertainment, but unfortunately, since there was no antenna, it was useless because it would only play static. And he still didn't have a PlayStation to play the PlayStation game that he won, so the TV was just a source of fucking white noise, I suppose. And then he finally gets something really, really useful, which is a toothbrush and toothpaste, which lets him brush his teeth for the first time in 3 months.
白衣を着た人現る。
健康チェックに来ただけです。
全く問題ありません。なすびさんは健康であると認めます。
This is one component that I always see left out for all of the publications or videos that talk about the horror of the Nasubi story. They actually had a doctor come in and check up on him. The staff wanted to make sure that he wasn't on the brink of death or that he hadn't contracted any serious disease or anything. So they had a doctor come in, take his vitals, also did a blood and urine test, or so they claim, and then gave him a clean bill of health. Now, assuming that that's all legitimate and not just, theatrics for the television program, I would still say this doesn't take into account the actual torture this man is enduring. Even if his vitals are okay, he doesn't have a disease or any, big alarming health concerns. This is a man that has been deprived of sunlight, socialization, entertainment, and just basic human needs for 3 months by this point. So even if all of the blood work and all of that is within normal limits, this is a man who is still very much not okay. And to try and make it seem like, no, everything's great, Nasubi's happy, and this is a totally fine by-the-books thing, look, the doctor even says so, is even more scummy and shitty.
嫌なことに気づいてしまった。命の源お米が米袋の底に溜まってる程度になってしまってる。
ついに今日で最後か。これが最後のお米です。はい、ドッグフードです。
すると
まずい。
ドッグフードでーす。
Somehow, the story keeps getting more tragic. The rice that he won on the 20th day was finally running out, and he was unable to win any more during this time, so he resorted to eating dog food. And dog food became the primary thing that he was eating. It was his main diet. So he was surviving off dog food. And another thing that I've seen brought up a few times that I also question is the legitimacy of what shows up, because it would have been very easy for producers to intercept things that Nasubi had won if they were too helpful. I find it very odd that the only thing Nasubi won in terms of clothing throughout all 15 months was a pair of panties. That seems so unrealistic. I really think there may have been foul play, and this is just a conspiracy, where the producers intercepted clothes in order to keep him naked for the sake of the comedy of the show. And I think that there could have been a lot of cases like that. There's also nothing that would have stopped them from sending things he didn't win, like dog food. He may have never entered a dog food sweepstakes, and they could have sent it to him in order to further humiliate and torture him for the audience. There's just so much shit in here that is beyond cruel and unusual. It blows my mind that this is something that actually happened to a real human being.
神よ、我に生きる力を与えきり。米です。じゃんじゃんじゃん。米はだって。
Luckily, he was able to win rice, 3 months later. He won 10 kilograms of rice about 3-ish months after mainly surviving off dog food, as well as a couple of other foods that he'd win here and there, but dog food for a while was like his primary source of nutrition. And then he finally gets rice again. Now, it's been about 6 months-ish, and he is finally halfway to the goal. In 6 months, he reaches the halfway point. According to Atrocity Guide, he has submitted 38,000 entries by this point. 38,000 sweepstakes entries in 6 months, and he is only halfway to the goal.
久しぶりだな。
この時ナスビは思った。
終わりですか。100万いったんですか。いってない。意味がわからないんですけど、全然。うわー、車やった、動いてる動いてる。これはまあ全部揃ってるというか、引っ越しっていうことなんですか。
Just when you thought it couldn't get more fucked up. So what happened here is this show was so popular, people eventually found out where Nasubi was being held. So there was paparazzi, reporters and everything that all were crowding around the space, so the producers moved him to an identical space where no one would know where he was. It was super far away, it was like 5 hours away, I believe, and this whole time Nasubi thought, oh, I must have won. But it turns out he didn't. They were just moving him to continue the game in a different location. It looks like actual kidnapping, and to a certain extent it is. The entire time, Nasubi is kind of delirious. He hasn't talked to people in a long time. He even says his mind is clouded with anxiety, and he's saying things that don't make any sense. He's unable to really talk to people, or talk around people in general. He's like completely lost that ability due to right around 6 months in total isolation.
しかしこの企画が放送されていることを知らないナスビにプロデューサーは
なんか演技担ぎじゃあ私のためってことですね、これは。
身に余る光栄です。
The team told Nasubi that he was moved to a new location for renewed luck, so better fortune at a new spot, because they didn't want to tell him the real reason that they were relocating him. So they came up with that, and I'm pretty sure Nasubi doesn't believe them because he kind of laughs about it, saying, oh, so it's for my own benefit. I think he's very well aware now that this is a pretty fucking evil team of producers here, and whatever reason they had for moving him probably wasn't for his own benefit.
格屋がこれは椅子と机が当たったってことなのかな、これ。社長気分っつうのかね。
当選第1号国用のパーソナルデスク&チェア。
操作しづらいんですよね、爪が邪魔でね。爪がこんなになっちゃってるからね。
His first win in the new location actually is a fucking fat one. He gets a new desk, a new chair. They're both relatively expensive too, so it's a great victory for him. And he shows his nails. The nail growth is outrageous. He hasn't been able to trim them in about 6 months now. Like, he is genuinely a prisoner here, and it shows.
With this room switch, producers decided to offer a live web stream alternative, causing them to digitally follow Nasubi around with a joystick in order to censor his genitalia. As you can see, the quality of the live stream is primitive, but keep in mind this is in the late 90s.
I couldn't actually find a high quality clip showing how they censored the live stream or did the live broadcast, so this comes from Atrocity Guide as well. What they did is the producers had a whole team that was dedicated to following Nasubi around with a joystick like they were playing a fucking arcade game with a sensor to keep his dick and balls off the screen. And they live streamed him. They wanted to offer a real-time alternative instead of just doing like the weekly Nasubi update with clips. They wanted 24/7 Nasubi coverage for anyone that wanted to go watch. So this was pretty innovative for its time. I think it's definitely one of the first like actual around-the-clock live streams that ever actually aired. It's pretty impressive.
ウィダーインゼリーが当たってかれこれ2週間当選がない。
ここまでね、当たんないってのもなかなか久しぶりの出来事でね。
車で移動。着いたところは
使っていいよ。いいですか。
ナスビのあまりの運のなさに見かねたスタッフは当然運の上昇を願い2度目の引っ越しを決めたのだった。
So Nasubi initially had a good string of luck at the new location. I believe, according to Atrocity Guide, he had done 17,000 entries and won decent stuff, but then hit a really bad cold streak, even ran out of food at one point, so the producers did move him again to another location to help him out in winning more prizes, I suppose, and it worked, because he did win more prizes.
ビデオデッキを頭にぶつけ当選の舞。
ほんと10ヶ月ぶりにね、トイレットペーパーに触ったよ、本当に。
He finally wins food again and really celebrates getting some potato chips, and he also gets a VHS player, which will be nice to go with the TV, assuming he ever wins a VHS tape to play. But I think the most important thing he wins here is toilet paper. This is the first time he's had toilet paper in his entire stay. 10 months so far. And to celebrate, he tries to take a shit just out of frame, but was unable to. So an unsuccessful mission there, but at least he finally has toilet paper.
それは8ヶ月前のこと。
電車でコントローラー好き。
6ヶ月前。
おー、来たよ。とりあえずまず電車でGo!
Now this is by far the meatiest win he's gotten so far, a PlayStation. That's pretty expensive, especially during this time period, and it also enables him to have real entertainment for the first time in 10 months. This is like a moment that's straight out of like Civilization, where you climb up the tech tree slowly but surely. 8 months prior to this, he won a PlayStation 1 game, Densha De Go, which also had the special controller to go with it. Couldn't play it, obviously, at the time. 6 months ago, he won a TV. So he had a PlayStation game, a controller, a TV, but no console. He finally got that last missing piece of the puzzle, the console, and is able to play PlayStation games now. Well, the single PlayStation game he's won. And what's really interesting about this is his first piece of actual entertainment he's had since being fucking imprisoned here. But also, and this was pointed out by Caleb, this would make him the world's first video game live streamer, because this is all being live streamed. All of this is a live broadcast, and he spent 4 straight days playing his PlayStation. So for 4 straight days, he was being streamed playing a game. This man was the patient zero of streaming. He walked so Twitch could run.
一心不乱で電車で GO に熱中するナスビ。電車で GO 3日目に突入。
He played so much Densha De Go that he had to ban himself from playing it further so he could focus on entering into more sweepstakes and getting closer to freedom. So he stopped playing the game, went back to writing entries, and he was able to do it. He pulled off the last remaining prizes he needed to reach that million yen mark.
一歩間違えてダイヤにしてくれてれば。
今回当たったタイヤが8万4000円。つまり現在の総額は96万9114円。
The tires put him extremely close to completing the challenge. He was right at the finish line here, so close he could throw the Densha De Go disc right over the finish line. Only a couple more wins would secure this, and he was able to pull it off. The final item he won that put him over the million yen threshold was a bag of rice. But Nasubi didn't know he won. It had been 335 straight days of constant, non-stop, relentless filling out of sweepstakes in order to win these prizes. 335 days of torture, and Nasubi had finally reached the finish line, but didn't know it.
ゴールを祝いクラッカーで祝福。
100万になったってことですか？11ヶ月と1日前に脱がされた私の服ですね。
Per usual, the producers come in like a group of burglars during the night and start popping party poppers in his face, which scares the shit out of him and really confuses him. They eventually explain that he did win, he made 1 million yen, and they give him his clothes back. It's been 11 months and 1 day, and this is the first time Nasubi is putting clothes on in that entire time frame. So when he puts them on, he says that it's uncomfortable and itchy, but he's very, very, very happy to be done with the contest and glad that he's completed it. But that's not where this story ends. The producers took Nasubi to Korea, telling him it was a celebration for completing the game and for all of his hard work. So they went to an amusement park, he ate a lot of great food, he had a wonderful, incredible time, and then things got real fucked up.
そこは
脱いで人は韓国の憲章だけで生きていけるか
ナスビ大ショック
Nasubi was making them far too much money. The producers weren't done suckling from this cash cow's teat, so they trapped Nasubi in Korea. The goal this time wasn't 1 million yen. This time he was going to have to enter sweepstakes in Korea, which he didn't speak Korean, so he had to use a Korean to Japanese dictionary to translate. His goal was to enter the sweepstakes, win prizes enough to afford a plane ticket from Korea to Japan. That was the objective. He was stripped naked, yet again, and forced to endure the same torture that he had already endured for 335 days prior. I would like to make a mention here. There is a moment where the producer says, if you don't want to do this, just say so. To which Nasubi responds, I'll do it. So I don't think they had ever forced him against his will to complete these challenges, but he was pretty much promised fame after doing these things. So, in the pursuit of Nasubi's big dreams, he allowed himself to be tortured mercilessly for 15 months.
こんなにいっぱいということは商品総額が 47,800 円ということはゴール 46,900 円突破 in Korea.
This time around, however, Nasubi went fucking plus ultra, straight up turbo mode. He had become a master at this shit. So he was actually able to complete this challenge in just about 2 months, which made the producers very upset because he didn't suffer long enough. So they increased the challenge duration. They moved the goalpost. Instead of just getting a one-way ticket from Korea to Japan in economy class, they required him to get an additional 9,000 yen in prize winnings to upgrade that ticket to business class.
エコノミークラスという一番安い料金こんなに頑張ったのにエコノミークラスとはあんまりだそこでビジネスクラスにランクアップ点まであと 9,500 円頑張れナスビ
Yeah, more scummy, evil shit from the producers here. They never even told him he initially completed the goal here. They just let him keep writing postcards until he'd gather another 9,000 yen. They didn't want him to win quickly. They didn't really want him to win at all because the longer he struggles and suffers, the more money they were making. So they let him just keep going and tried to spin it as a positive thing, like, look at how hard Nasubi's working. We're not going to let him fly in economy class. So the new goal is business class because it's what Nasubi would want. Just genuinely fucked shit.
頑張ったってこんなお茶2袋お茶よ
4,000 円ということは商品総額は 61,800 円ということファーストクラスにランクアップということはゴールの金額もランクアップ
Nasubi easily gathered the remaining 9,500 yen after winning some expensive tea leaves, so he was absolutely slapping the producers' bottoms, like he was going hog wild right now. So again, they increased the goal without ever telling him. Now, business class wasn't good enough. Now it was going to have to be a first class ticket, which was an additional 20,000 yen, I believe, which again was pretty quick for Nasubi to gather. He won a live octopus, a big picture frame, and was able to gather enough money through prizes pretty quickly to get that final rank up to first class passenger. So then he finally gets the ticket from Korea to Japan in first class, and it's over.
そしてプロデューサーに連れられたナスビ登場。もちろんアイマスクにヘッドホン。ナスビは驚くべき行動に出る。
別にまだかかる。
なんと脱ぎ始めた。
なんだ
せーの
But the story wouldn't be complete without one more final act of cruelty towards Nasubi. They blindfold him, put noise-canceling headphones on him, disorient him, and drag him on stage into a mock room designed to look like the rooms that he'd been staying in for the last 15 months. So out of pure instinct, he gets completely nude again. It's the only life he knows, so without ever being told to take his clothes off, he does it anyway. And then the walls break away, revealing a live studio audience laughing at him and congratulating him for completing the show. Nasubi is understandably confused because for 15 months he has been psychologically and physically tortured. So he doesn't understand what's happening, he doesn't get it, and is shocked, scared, and all around bewildered. It's just one more sick fucking joke from the producers. Millions of people watching the finale, as well as thousands in person watching him, completely naked and completely having no idea what's going on or why. The life of prizes was finally complete, and the entire show, Susanoo Denpa Shonen, was cancelled pretty shortly after. It didn't have like a super long run after this, but the toll that this experience took on Nasubi's life obviously didn't stop with the finale. He reported being uncomfortable in clothes for about 6 months afterwards, and his social skills had obviously deteriorated. He said he was a lot more shy and not really able to be a comedian super well anymore because obviously he had been cut off for so long from people. He just kind of lost the ability to carry on conversations efficiently and overall just became a lot more reserved as a result of this. He did, however, sell his diary, the Nasubi Life of Prizes diary, like his journal, and that was a bestseller. That was a massive success. But he himself never achieved that level of fame that he was kind of promised with a show like this. He did have certain roles in other productions, and some of them pretty sizable roles in other productions, but never a massive success in Japan, even though this is like the most successful live stream in Japan's history. So just an overall extremely sad and cruel story. The main producer behind this show has gone on record and said he doesn't regret anything. He said his goal is to make miracles on film, and with Nasubi, he accomplished that goal. He did apologize to Nasubi, and Nasubi confirms that the producer did apologize to him, but the apology only does fuck all. Like, that doesn't make up for 15 months of lost human contact and health. Like, that's a nothing burger. But I guess at least he apologized, even though he made millions of dollars off the back of Nasubi's suffering. But anyway, I wanted to share this story because I find it to be one of the most interesting ones when it comes to like live broadcast television as well as live streaming. This is one of the first live streams, and it was fucking bizarre. Extremely fucked up story. And yeah, I just wanted to share that with all of you. Thank you to Caleb and Chelsea for compiling a bunch of clips here, so that way we could tell the story as best as possible, and yeah, that's about it. See ya. I'll be honest, I don't usually cover topics like what I'm about to touch on today, because it's extremely serious. Usually the stuff I cover is things to point and laugh at, throw tomatoes at, say boo, stinky, yucky, boo. Not this. This is horrifying. It's a story I haven't seen a ton of people mention, and I myself didn't know about it until a few nights ago, where just some random chatter during stream mentioned it, and I looked it up, and the information was only a few minutes old. Like, I don't even know how that guy had access to it so quickly, unless he's like one of the chief investigators on the case that just typed it in the chat. But when I looked it up there wasn't a ton of specifics mentioned about the case, but I followed it over the last few days as more and more information has come to the public eye. It is truly evil. And to my knowledge, this is the first case where a live stream was used as an alibi in a murder case or anything of that magnitude. There, of course, has been cases like with Facebook live streams and even YouTube a couple times where horrible atrocities were committed live, but I think this is the only time that someone has tried to use a live stream to prove their innocence and act as a smokescreen to cover up their crimes. Now, the person I'm about to talk about hasn't been found guilty yet, but they have been charged with murder with overwhelming evidence. Extremely compelling and strong evidence. On December 18th in Ireland, a woman named Natalie McNally was stabbed to death in her own home. She was 15 weeks pregnant at the time of her death. And the person accused of the murder is a man named Stephen McCullough. He is a YouTuber as well as streamer. He mainly focused on toy reviews as far as I can tell, specifically seeming to be a big Doctor Who toy reviewer. So what happened is, on the night of Natalie McNally's murder, Stephen McCullough went live on his channel. And this live stream is still up right now. It's a 6-hour live stream. And this was crucial evidence to prove his innocence on this evening. Because how could McCullough have possibly killed someone when there's proof of him streaming from his home at the same time that the murder had taken place? So they eventually, after bringing him in initially on suspicion of being involved in this case, let him go. Because this live stream did serve as a pretty good alibi for him. Plus, this wasn't just streamed to 0 viewers, there were real sentient human beings with a pulse there to watch this stream, so should any of this information ever come to light, there would be a lot of witnesses saying, no, I was watching him stream, he was 100% at home. So that was his whole plan. And while this worked for a brief period of time getting him out of suspicion, it was an ephemeral victory because after the investigators combed through about 4,000 hours worth of CCTV footage, they kind of pinned his whole location. They got his whole itinerary here. They were able to track him around and follow him around like it was a fucking Sims character. So not only did they see him through the CCTV evidence, but they also have the account of the taxi driver. They even took notice of things like a yellow glove underneath a black glove while giving change to a bus driver. And with all of this, they had a really strong case against him being the murderer. But they still had that live stream to explain. Because again, there is a live stream that did span the entire course where all of this took place. So how the fuck does this happen? You know, is he David Copperfield? Like, what, 2 places at once? Is this some kind of prestige situation where he had like a twin or a clone of himself? The actual answer is it's far simpler than you would possibly ever think. The live stream was fake. Yes, the stream went live on his channel during this whole period of time, but it wasn't actually a live stream. It was a pre-recorded video that Stephen McCullough had recorded days prior in order to look like a live stream, to mimic a live stream, so that way it could be used as an alibi for him. And when you watch the live stream, which again is still up on his channel, there are so many alarming red flag moments throughout it, even from the get-go. So he mentions at the very beginning of this live stream that he's not going to be able to read chat for a variety of technical reasons. One of them being it would crash his computer, it'd freeze the computer, it'd ruin the whole stream because of all of these deep tech problems that he couldn't solve. Everything's gone cattywampus, so he won't be able to read your chat. More like, Doctor, who's talking? Because I can't see you, I'm not reading chat. He just keeps reiterating over and over and over again that there's going to be no chat interaction. Because obviously, since this is a pre-recorded thing, there is no chat for him to read or interact with.
Well, because this streaming software is kind of up the left, it means I can't check the live chat, which is a real shame. Can't look at the live chat for some bloody reason, because if I do, it makes the whole thing freeze and OBS just screws up.
And he just kept like explaining why he can't read chat, and then he started talking about like, well, I guess I could read it on my phone, but you know, I get addicted to TikTok when I'm on my phone, and that's a mess, so I've put my phone in timeout in another room, so I won't be reading chats there either, and that'd probably ruin my internet too anyway, so no chat tonight. You guys can talk amongst yourself. I don't even like live streamers who read chat, so no chat for me tonight. There's plenty of streamers who don't interact with chat, but to go this long and this in-depth on things that make absolutely no fucking sense whatsoever to explain why you're not going to be reading chat or reacting to donations is definitely a little odd. And there's plenty of other really alarming moments about this stream, especially looking back on it in hindsight. He keeps reiterating that he's live, you know, this is live, and he's staying inside all night. He talks about like drinking and driving, and he'd never drink and drive, which is why he's staying inside, drinking on stream live for his viewers to enjoy. He's playing GTA Vice City throughout the stream, and he's making comments about like how the police force is no longer like equipped to handle cases, and there's a rise in crime. It's in the real world he's talking about. It's all very fucking alarming stuff, but by far the scariest thing he says has to be this.
Yeah, that's physics. That's what would happen in the real world. Abso-fucking-notly. Abso-fucking-notly.
Completely out of nowhere, unprompted, he mentions someone named Natalie in a pretty menacing way. And once again, there's plenty of other things he says in here that are very scary, but I think this one is by far the worst moment. This has been 100% confirmed beyond a shadow of a doubt to be a fake live stream. When authorities seized some possessions, they found the actual video itself and concluded that it was filmed on December 13th or 14th. And also, McCullough himself has confirmed that the live stream was not actually live, it was pre-recorded, but insists that he was actually just drinking by himself alone that night. He completely denies the murder and insists that someone else may have been dropped off in a taxi near his home. This is referring to the CCTV evidence that they've gathered, pinpointing all of his locations throughout the evening. There's also other awful shit here as well. McCullough stayed pretty close to Natalie McNally's parents, and in one case even left his phone over at their house in order to like bug them and secretly spy on them to record their conversations to see if he was a suspect. So McCullough went to the McNally house, left his phone on record, and left, but returned 40 minutes later claiming to have forgotten it, and police were saying that this was an attempt to listen into their conversations to see if they suspected him of anything in this. I can't envision a world where Stephen McCullough is not the person who committed this crime. There is just an overwhelming amount of evidence against him. And he still doesn't have a real explanation for what the possible motive to faking the live stream would even be. Nothing that makes sense, at least. And then randomly dropping Natalie's name during it. I just cannot imagine that this man is innocent, but he hasn't been found fully guilty of being the murderer yet. But yeah, overall, a horrifying situation. I'm wishing the absolute best for the McNally family, and I'm hoping justice is served here. That's about it. So yeah. When it comes to sad, pathetic things on the internet, I feel like I've seen it all. I'm like the Oracle from the Matrix. Nothing surprises me anymore. Yet, today I bore witness to something so tragically embarrassing on Twitch that it's making me reflect, and it's put me in a very somber state. I feel as though I'm at a funeral service. A streamer invited one of her mods to hang out with her in real life, and then did a stream that was an hour and 25 minutes of agonizing, miserable, inhumane torture. Waterboarding would have felt more pleasant for this mod, I imagine. She spends the entire stream basically just insulting him. He is the butt of every one of her jokes, and she kind of just reduces him to a spittoon for her and her chat to spit in and make fun of. Now, I think punching bags get treated with more respect than this guy did, and it only got worse the longer the stream went on. She had a donation goal where if the stream gave her $500, she would kiss him.
Oh god, fuck.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, one more shot, guys.
Dang.
If you ever want to get drunk really fast, just have to kiss till you'll be fucked up by the time the night's over.
That is soul-crushingly mean-spirited. That is downright diabolical. Saying if you want to get drunk, just try and kiss Dilly, you'll be fucked up by the end of the night. Saying that you have to be hammered to want to kiss this guy. And this is the attitude for the entire stream, so she makes it pretty clear that she can't really stand to be around him unless she is extraordinarily drunk, so the whole time she is drinking throughout the stream, they reach the donation goal, so now she's obligated to give him a little smooch.
Can't do it.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Can you come closer?
Like this close? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Whenever you're ready.
Can you puck her up? Puck her up.
I have small lips.
You snotted on me. You just snotted on me.
This is my allergy.
You went, little snots went on my leg.
It did?
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Oh my god.
Alright, come on.
Okay.
Sorry.
If I was watching a hostage video where someone had kidnapped my grandmother, threatening to slit her throat unless I paid the ransom, I would honestly find that video to be less cruel and more humane than this Twitch stream I just watched. This is absolutely brutal. My heart breaks for this guy. I don't know who he is. I don't know what he's done to deserve this, but this is like a divine punishment here. This whole thing was her idea. This was her donation incentive. And now she's acting like it was the worst thing that ever happened to her. It's so bad, she's got to go rinse her mouth out. She's got to fucking brush her teeth and scrub it all down with soap and bleach just to try and erase the stain that his lips put upon hers. It's just evil. This whole stream is her basically just bullying this guy.
Well... Jesus Christ. Well, are you okay?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm back, guys. Sorry, I'm good. I'm good.
She's putting on this big song and dance about how gross and disgusting this was, when it was her idea. She's doing this just to make him feel even worse, and put on a show for her chat at this guy's expense. Like, oh, this loveless loser virgin flew all the way here, and oh, I just had to kiss him. Like, that's so mean. And this should be a wake-up call to her chat that, like, donates money to her under this idea that she's going to like them or something like that, or parasocially donating to her because they think that they're going to be friends or even more than that. This should be the biggest wake-up call. Your third eye should be fucking beaming from your forehead right now with this out there. This is her mod, someone who literally, like, does a ton for her. And this is how he's getting treated in front of everybody. That's what she thinks of you as well. Now, like I said, it's not just this viral moment here. The very beginning of the stream comes out fucking guns blazing, going hog wild about this guy having no shot with her and that she doesn't even really respect him at all.
Yeah, Dilly's living the dream. Aren't you so happy to be here?
Yeah. It's my dream, y'all.
Yeah, I've been posting pictures of Dilly every single day on Discord, and this guy cannot hang. Dilly's eyes are fucked. It's because I have cats and he's allergic, and he has allergy meds. Doesn't he look like Gru from Despicable Me? Sorry, every time I see Dilly, I just start laughing.
This is the very beginning of the stream. This is chapter 1. It's not even chapter 1. This is the prologue. And she immediately comes out of the gate saying that he looks like Gru from Despicable Me, and she can't help but laugh when she sees him. The stream doesn't even make it 5 full minutes without her making sure to insult him in front of everybody. He's just getting publicly flogged immediately. She is flaying him alive throughout most of the stream. Again, this whole hour and 25 minutes is basically just make fun of Dilly, and let the chat make fun of Dilly too. It's so mean-spirited. And this guy, again, I don't know anything about him. He wasn't even creepy or weird or awkward. He seemed like just a very normal guy. He even seems pretty nice and really not weird. Yes, he does come across as like a little lonely and a little socially shy, but there's no like red flags or anything alarming about this guy at all. This must have been hell on earth for him to not only get invited out by the person that he clearly cares about since he mods for her, but to go there and then just be perpetually insulted directly by that person and the community that you mod for, having all these tomatoes thrown at you throughout the whole thing. And on top of all of that, be surrounded by cats which trigger his allergies. The misery must have been indescribable. Like, I'm getting parasocial with it because I actually just really do feel bad for him here. Like, brother, come on. Have some more self-respect. Have some more confidence. You deserve it. You deserve better than this treatment here. That was just so mean. Now, I already know the cope. I know what the excuse is going to be. Oh, she's clearly just pushing his buttons. They're just joshing around. They're very close friends, obviously. But I don't get that impression at all. These aren't jokes I would tell to even my best friend Matt, who I've known since middle school. A lot of what she says to and about Dilly is just downright nasty. I would never say to Matt, like, the only reason, you know, your wife ever kissed you is because she must have been blackout drunk and forgot what you looked like or something. That's just so fucked up. And, like, she makes statements like that pretty often throughout this stream. These aren't really jokes. She is just insulting this guy as much as possible to make him a laughingstock for her stream.
Cute couple, baby, we are not dating. I do not claim this. Sorry, that's so mean, but don't claim it. So yeah, 1 hour stream, so every minute counts. I made a donation goal of $500. I will kiss Dilly. So we hit it. But hopefully I will be drunk for that. Let's take the first shot of the night, yeah? Is it too early?
No. Cheers.
The way she responded to the cute couple statement seemed like she was genuinely offended anyone would even say something like that. Now keep in mind, she's still sober right here, so this is still her insulting him with the training wheels on. She hasn't even taken the gloves off yet. It gets really bad shortly after.
I made all the boys go with Dilly to help change his pants. So I think Dilly threw away his chunky throat pants in the trash. Dilly had the same size hands.
No,
oh my god. You have baby hands.
No way.
Yeah, we have the same size hands. That means you have a small dick.
The astute observers out there will have noticed that I put the stream to 2x speed during her story times, and I'll openly admit to it. The reason is because it was genuinely painful listening to her tell those stories because it's just shitting on Dilly. She's putting him on blast as frequently as possible, sharing his most embarrassing moments, so giving his lowlights. Here's the worst of moments with Dilly. Here's what Dilly did that was so embarrassing last night. You guys need to hear this. It's just, again, so unnecessarily mean. And then, of course, she has to do something about penis size, so she says, we have the same size hands, which means you have a tiny dick. Your hands aren't even the same size. His hands are visibly bigger than yours, but again, this is just being rude for the sake of it. Nobody is meaner to tier 3 subs or Twitch mods than the streamer themselves, it seems. She is so much nastier to her mod than anyone on Twitter has ever been to any mod for any streamer ever. Now, there are a couple times in the stream that she says that they're good friends, so it's all, in good fun. And what a load of dirty barnacles. I think she says that to try and convince Dilly, and Dilly, he believes it. Dilly's bought into that fantasy. This does not strike me as two people that are friends. This strikes me as her using him for content, as a punching bag. That's what this all seems like. No friend dynamic is like this. No friendship goes like this. Of course you're going to joke around with your friends, you're going to get mean with your friends, but at the end of the day, you're close, and you know that there's no actual bad blood or malicious intent there. I do not get that vibe from this interaction at all, because it is unrelenting for an hour and 25 minutes, and what I'm about to show you here, I think is the most foul thing that she said throughout it.
Oh my god, so either go back with my ex, or get with Dilly for 6 months. Fuck. Okay, so in case you guys know, or don't know, I don't want to say his name out loud. This ex fucking traumatized me. He had a gambling addiction, drug addiction, porn addiction, like he actually fucked me up, okay? So either go through like trauma and emotional abuse, or date Dilly for 6 months. Trying to get back with my ex. Okay, next question. Is it true that
It's in 2x speed because, again, she was going on a montage of degrading him. And then it got to that question. Would you rather get back with your ex, who apparently traumatized her, or date Dilly for 6 months? And she chooses her ex. And then just laughs it off. She would rather be in, I guess, this emotionally abusive situation that she called it, and be traumatized, than be with Dilly for 6 months. Why would you even answer this question in the first place? That is so fucked up. I was stunned when that came around. Like, she knows Dilly is clearly interested in her romantically, and yet she uses that as the butt of the jokes. Like, half of the stream is making it clear that she feels she is so out of his league, so superior to him, that the comedy is that people would even suggest there's a chance. So this question rolls around, and she's like, oh yeah, I'd definitely just go back with the ex. Definitely wouldn't go back, or go with Dilly for 6 months. I'd rather be emotionally abused than spend time with this guy. In front of his face, too. The guy who basically does work for you on your streams by modding, who has also now gone out of his way to hang out with you in real life, and on your stream for your content. And now he has to sit there and hear that you would rather be emotionally abused and traumatized than date him for 6 months. This guy who obviously cares about you. I can't even imagine what a statement like that must feel like to hear. And he has to keep himself composed because she's broadcasting all of this to her audience publicly. I've never met anyone that I've had any kind of relationship with, a friend, or even an acquaintance, that has said something that even teeters on as mean as what she just did right there. And she did it right to the face of someone who very clearly cares a lot about her. Now, she laughs it off and moves on to the next question, and I think Dilly has been brainwashed by her into thinking that he's a good friend of hers. But Dilly, I'm just going to hit you with the cold water. Friends don't treat each other this way. She is treating you like a subhuman pile of garbage.
Me personally, I would not hit. So, yeah, there is a right or wrong answer. Well, me personally... How about you rate me first?
10 out of 10.
Oh, fuck, you know, I'm not gonna rate. I'm just gonna drink.
That means I'm a 6. It's okay.
If it was a 6, I would have said that out loud.
Oh.
Anyways.
Again, it's just an absolute flurry of disrespect from her towards Dilly. But I wanted to show this clip here at the end because I think this is a great summation of how this whole experience went. Where he rates her a 10 out of 10. And then she refuses to rate him, so he playfully is like, oh, okay, that must mean like I'm a 6. And then she didn't have to say anything. She could have just moved on to the next question, but she went out of her way to let him know that that's not the case. So she says, if it was a 6, I would have said it out loud. Anyway, just trying to take another little stab, drive the dagger deep inside of his heart here to let him know that he is beneath her. He's not a 6 to her, and he needs to know it. It's so unnecessarily mean. It's just being an asshole and nothing more. She puts him down every chance she can find. She attacks every single one of his perceived weaknesses in her eyes and is doing everything in her power to publicly humiliate and degrade him. It is not friendly. There is nothing jovial about this whole stream at all. It is mean-spirited and just really fucking sad. Like I mentioned, there was a couple of times she tried to cushion the blows like, oh, we're such good friends, this is all okay. And then when one of the questions during Truth or Drink is, what was your favorite thing about Dilly? She says that he's nice and that he's like just super nice and not awkward. Those are the only couple of instances where she wasn't just shitting on him. And I think she did that because she could see from the chat that people were dogpiling onto Dilly, and it is just a really uncomfortable stream entirely.
How likely is it for him to pick up a girl tonight?
I'm gonna answer this honestly.
Honestly, you're not getting shit. I think maybe a girl will be down to dance with you, you know?
That's a win.
But there's no way, I don't think you're getting any girls' numbers. Or going home with, I'm gonna say it's a 0 out of 10.
Well, obviously I wouldn't bring anyone back here, but...
I would let you. I'm a good friend. So if you want to bring a girl back here, you can. Wow. But I'm just being honest, I don't see it. Prove me wrong though, you know, prove me wrong.
I was perfectly content to not show you any more clips from the stream. I was just about to end the video, but then I remembered this moment, and I just had to showcase it. Even if it's not directly about her, she won't even let him think he has a chance with any girl, for that matter. None. Like, he's not even allowed to go into the club with a good mindset. They're going to a club later this evening, and they were getting hype for it. Like, chat was asking, hey, do you think he has a chance with a girl? And this was her response to it. He's not even allowed to have a good mentality going into it because she's already shitting on him beforehand to bring his self-esteem down. It's just bullying. Like, she is just a bully to this guy. It just doesn't end. He's not allowed to breathe for a second, A, because of the allergies that he's subjected to, but B, because she is constantly this miasma of hate to him. Like, it's just so negative. If this was actually any semblance of a friend, she would have lifted him up like, yeah, you're gonna get some pussy tonight, let's go, you know, let's have a good time out there tonight. That's not what she's doing. She's immediately putting him down. Again, for the millionth time this stream.
Who's better looking, Dilly or your ex? My ex. Next question. Do you ever have any feelings for any of your mods, including him? Hell no, that's why they're my mods.
Last clip from this stream, I promise, but I thought this was an important one. I have for a long time preached about how awful parasocial relationships are and how prevalent it is in streaming. I think hearing her say this should have snapped a ton of people out of that mentality that just by donating to somebody or modding for somebody in this case, that all of a sudden they're going to somehow develop feelings for you or something. Doesn't happen. It won't happen. And that is not a healthy mindset for you as a viewer to be in. I wanted to put this here because she just says it with her whole chest right in front of Dilly. Again, per usual here for this stream. But this is actually an important lesson to learn. Just because you mod for somebody or donate to somebody, if you're a tier 3 sub to somebody, if you've been sub to somebody for years, they are not all of a sudden your best friend, and they are not obligated to fall in love with you or have feelings for you. So, tough pill to swallow for some, I'm sure, but it needs to get through. Now, all that being said, what Dilly was subjected to here is nothing shy of heinous. Nobody deserves this level of public humiliation, and I feel extremely bad for him, and I'm just genuinely wishing him the best going forward. I just had to talk about this because it is one of the downright meanest and saddest streams I've ever seen on Twitch. Like, probably ever, I think. So yeah, that's really about it. So yeah. Yeah, this is just downright evil. A French streamer named Jean Parmenov, real name Raphael Gravin, has passed away in his sleep on stream after this marathon stream that he was a part of, where his friends, and I wouldn't call them friends, they are like actual demons, basically just abused him, beat him, fundamentally tortured him, made him consume dangerous things, and then he went to sleep and died in his sleep. He was 46 years old, and the exact cause of death is currently being investigated. Jean Parmenov was mainly a gamer, and then over time grew a big following and started doing like more IRL streams, and from what I can gather, more like extreme challenges. But what happened during this marathon stream where he ultimately passed away was something that he was not a full willing participant of, as evidenced by what he would say during streams, as well as a text message he sent to his mother just days before his death. He allegedly sent this to his mom shortly before he passed. "Hey mom, how are you? I'm sick of this game. It's gone way too far. I feel like I'm being held hostage by their awful concept. I'm exhausted. I want to leave, but the other guy won't let me. He's holding me hostage." The other streamers involved here are trying to claim they had nothing to do with it, and then even posted some very heartfelt messages about his passing and how much he meant to them. But if you watch any of the footage, and I don't know what I can and can't show you here because it is actually torturing this guy, and then he eventually dies, like, if you just watch that, it's very clear this isn't a man they respected. This is someone they treated like a human punching bag.
Oh, t'écoutes? Ouais, ça va. J'ai jamais bougé. Vraiment. Vraiment. T'inquiète pas, t'inquiète pas. Je relâche. Allez, arrête, arrête, tu vas mourir. Arrête, ça fait... Arrête. Oui, oui. Arrête. Ah, il me prend, putain. Arrête, arrête, il va mourir. Arrête, il va mourir.
I've seen a few news sources showing these clips, so I'm assuming that these are okay to show. Not that any of it is okay, it only gets worse from here. But as far as what they did to this man and the abuse that he endured, this is like the lowest level of it. Not that there's a such thing as diet torture, there's no such thing as like a tasteful amount of torture, but as far as like clips I can show you of just how awful it was, this is, I think, the limit of what I'm allowed to show. It is shocking that it went on for so long. Like, this was not just like a one-time thing, this was a recurrent gag on their streams where they bring Jean in and then they all just turn into like the toddlers from Weapons and start like ripping at him, beating him, insulting him. Like they really treat him like their prisoner, like a dog's chew toy or something. It is foul. And they have the audacity to claim that they did nothing and that they are blameless in this death. Like, oh, it was just such an unexpected tragedy that he passed away. No one could have seen it coming. I think any sensible person will look at all of the evidence that they themselves filmed on stream and be able to say with high level of confidence that they definitely had a hand in his untimely death. Two of the streamers directly involved in this have made statements where they're trying to put on this facade of grief, but I don't buy it at all. The first comes from Naruto, which is a wild name for a piece of shit like this to have. It's been a while since I've seen the show, but I don't recall Naruto ever being a huge advocate for torturing innocent people. Anyway, his statement says, "I've always dreaded writing these words. Sadly, last night, JP, Raphael Gravin, left us. My brother, my sidekick, my partner, 6 years, side by side, never letting go. I love you, my brother. We will miss you terribly. Please respect his memory and don't share the video of his final moments. For his family and for us, his second family, rest in peace. A bunch of words there, and I don't believe any of them. All of these words are once again more meaningless than mahogenize. And that's a word that I completely made up. This is hollow when you look at how they treated this guy for so long. It wasn't just the physical abuse that Jean Parmenov, Raphael Gravin, endured. It was the mental abuse. They would all, like, from what I can tell, they were even doing their best to, like, keep him from sleeping. They were, like, strangling him as well, which, of course, is physical, too. But, like, there was significantly more than just the physical stuff they were doing to him to mistreat him and abuse him and dehumanize him. It was terrible. It was truly terrible. Like, obviously, I'm not going to show any more from the stream, but do you want to know how they went to check if he was still alive? Well, when they thought something might be a bit awry, they threw a bottle at him. They just threw a bottle at his body, and then they went over and started slapping him to try and see if he'd wake up, but he was still unresponsive. So that's when it dawned on them that he had died in his sleep, on stream, right next to all of them. There is nothing that I have seen here that leads me to believe they genuinely cared about this guy. I think it's very clear Raphael Gravin very much cared about them and wanted to be their friend, and to me it seems like they exploited that. They manipulated him into being the butt of the joke for these humiliation streams. That's what these were. They were humiliation streams that they roped Raphael Gravin into agreeing to, and it seems like they were just dangling this carrot of friendship in front of him. And like all of the attention that it was gathering, it seems like they were holding over his head like, oh man, we need you here, JP. We need to, you know, mistreat you on stream, but just know we love you. This is all part of, you know, the joke here for the audience. You know, we're all in on it. We're not laughing at you. We're laughing with you. That's what it seems like to me from everything I have seen here. And this has gone on for a really long time. It really seems like at no point did they actually respect JP or treat him like a friend. He was simply the catalyst for their humiliation streams. Because of him, they were able to get a lot more eyeballs and make a lot more money off humiliating and abusing this guy that they never actually really viewed as a friend. That's what it looks like to me. Now, all of this was broadcast on Kick, and it went on for a long time. Not only this 10-day marathon, but a lot of the other abuse that happened prior also broadcast on Kick, and at no point were they ever, like, reprimanded or shut down, according to sources. So a lot of attention is now turning towards Kick about, like, how they handle illegal shit like this. So our priority is to protect creators and ensure a safer environment on Kick. All co-streamers who participated in this live broadcast have been banned pending the ongoing investigation. So they didn't ban until after JP's death. Now, this kind of thing has happened on Twitch before. This isn't exclusive to just Kick. This has happened on YouTube streaming before as well. There was a streamer a while back on YouTube who literally murdered his girlfriend on stream. This is unfortunately something that has happened on other streaming platforms, and I understand that it can oftentimes be hard for a company to proactively get involved and stop something from happening before it happens, preventing a tragedy. You know, this isn't fucking Minority Report here with Tom Cruise able to, like, see the future or some shit. Like, they couldn't prevent it in some of those cases, but this one's a little different because a big source of their content was mistreating JP on stream. Strangling him, beating him. Like, that was a big piece of their content for a while, even before, like, all of this blew up and he passed away. Like, I feel like at some point Kick could have absolutely been alerted to that and taken action. And Kick does have a history of letting criminal activity fly unpunished for a while. There is a streamer that I have talked about numerous times who has literally fucked a prostitute on stream, on Kick, in front of a child on stream, and still was never banned for that. And that wasn't even the first time that he fucked a prostitute on stream. But that was the first time he did that while a child was literally in the room while he had sex with that prostitute. Still, never banned. Kick has been very loosey-goosey with their enforcement of their own policies, where they will let criminal activity fly for way too long. So that is something I think they really need to get under control. Kick has been growing a lot recently, and I think if it wants to continue to grow, it needs to take shit like this far more seriously. like before something like this happens. I feel like day one of JP being abused during this 10-day marathon, Kick could have come in and just put the kibosh on it. I'm not saying that would have saved his life or anything like that. Of course, there's no way to know. But if Kick would just be a little more mindful of trying to prevent illegal activities from being broadcast on there, it'd be really helpful, not only to the platform, but to people like JP, where if his friends weren't receiving such monetary incentive to keep humiliating and abusing him, like if they had been banned by Kick, well, maybe they would have stopped. But when they get to do an entire 10-day marathon of a bulk of the content revolving around, like, fundamentally torturing this guy, well, then it seems like they've got the green light to keep doing it, and they made a lot of money doing it too. And I already know the defense that a lot of people will use here about Kick has grown a lot, so there's a lot of buns in the oven. They can't keep track of every stream every single time. And I recognize that to a certain extent, but this was a big stream for them. Like, this is something that I think would have been on their radar in some capacity, and given Kick's history of just letting, like, really degenerate and illegal shit fly for a while, I think there's a chance they knew about this, but just were letting it ride because it was a big stream, and they don't want to be viewed as the platform that's like Weenie Hut Jr., where they'll, like, ban people willy-nilly. Which, again, I get, but when it comes to, like, torture and illegal shit, there is nothing wrong with stepping in and banning those accounts. In fact, I would argue it's very beneficial for your platform to do that, so that way the perception of Kick as a whole isn't like a lawless wasteland where criminals go to broadcast illegal shit. And it seems like the user base would like Kick to do more in cases like this. Aiden Ross made a statement where he mentioned that him and Drake are going to be covering the funeral costs for Raphael Gravin, which I think is a very nice gesture. And from what I can tell, it seems like Aiden agrees that Kick needs to do more in cases like this to stop the illegal content from being broadcast on that platform. It seems like it's something the users agree needs to have more action taken on, like stopping illegal broadcasts of crime on Kick. Now, to go back to the actual individuals involved in the abuse of Parmenov, one of the lawyers for them has come forward and said that the victim had cardiovascular problems and that the violence in the videos was acted. All of those scenes are just staged. They follow a script, he said. Actually going back to the classic, it's all just acting. A pretty interesting defense tactic here. I wonder if the text message Raphael Gravin sent to his mother agrees that it was all a script and that it was just acting. It must have been part of it. It was one hell of a script here. This is up there with some of Nolan's best scripts. This is crazy. To claim that the violence was staged and just acted. No, the fuck it was not. You can watch it yourself and see that is not the case. Like, they're trying to pull that meme of Patrick Stewart going to sleep and then saying, wasn't sleeping, just acting, and use it to try and excuse the hand that their clients may have had in the death of a 46-year-old innocent man on stream. It's, again, you can watch the clips yourself. It's pretty infuriating. It's hard to watch, but you can. And it's very clear this was not some script, and that this was not just acting. This is real terror and real abuse that this man suffered at the hands of people he thought were his friends. Now, I do know that there are a couple of clips where Raphael Gravin was playing along with it to a certain degree, where he would kind of lean into like the humiliation / abuse for the sake of like the stream. There are a couple moments of that, but it's very rare. The majority of the majority of it is them like just lashing out and like attacking him or making him do things against his will, and it's not scripted. Very clearly not scripted or fully agreed upon. So I think that is a very weak defense. I guess we'll see if the French courts agree, but I really think you can say with high confidence that this stream and these streamers did play a role in what ultimately happened to Raphael Gravin. They may not have directly killed him or anything like that, but I do think everything they put him through for such an extended period of time had a real role to play in what happened. It's sickening. This stream was hard to watch the clips from. It was brutal. Anyway, I had to talk about it a little bit. It's just so fucking crazy. That's really about it. See ya. Right now, there's a Twitch streamer getting tomatoes thrown at him all across Twitter for a clip that's going viral of him having an embarrassing and horrible response to one of his community members answering a question that he asked them.
In Spanish, and it's chef's kiss. All right. Curvy, where the fuck have you been? Oh my god. Well, tell you what, Miss Dirty Curvy, you know what we're not going to do? We're not going to talk about it in my chat. Because it's Friday. And that is a whole big bucket of bummer.
And his response is a big barrel of butt cheeks. So to give context to this situation here on the lore, this was a regular viewer of this streamer, an avid supporter who had taken a bit of a hiatus and was unfortunately going through a very hard time with her mother passing. So, when he saw that she was back, he asked her, "Oh, where have you been?" To which she just answered honestly, her mother had passed away, so, you know, it was a bit of a tough time. That's why she was taking a break. And then for some reason, this must have input a cheat code into the streamer's brain that just sent him into, like, debate club. He, for some reason, then just goes into, like, this TED Talk about how you shouldn't answer his question if your answer is something sad, because it brings down the vibes of the stream. It's baffling, because you had asked her, and she just answered your question honestly. I'll play a bit more of the clip before getting into it, but I want to make it clear early on that I understand a lot of streamers have a similar perspective where you don't really want someone in chat that's just talking about like a really traumatic experience they're going through, because it's not really the place for it and the streamer's not the therapist. Like, I do get that perspective, but there's a difference between like just a random person treating Twitch chat like it's their psychiatrist and you asking someone a question and them answering honestly, especially when it's a member of the community that you already kind of know to a certain level. I don't understand why you're all of a sudden getting mad at them for answering that.
And I'm sorry for your loss, but we're not doing that in my fucking chat. Thank you. Well, okay, Miss Dirty Curvy, you said, no, that's fine. You asked, so I told. No, I didn't ask you to tell me the biggest fucking bummer news in the world. I said, hey, what's up? How are you? You know what? Let me give you a little bit of a lesson, Miss Nerdy Kirby. When something really, really bad is going on in your life, and in a public forum, someone asks you, hey, what's up? How are you? There are two acceptable responses. Good, and you know what? I'll make it through. That's it.
So you want to just talk to NPCs that only have two dialogue options. Okay? Then why bother trying to communicate with a human being? Like, okay, give them a script. Make sure your community has the acceptable answer script to my stupid questions. I don't actually care where you've been. Like, just tell me one of these two canned responses. Like, this is so fucking dumb. And I also love the audacity. Let me give you a lesson here on how to handle my questions going forward. It's just so laughable that he's acting like some kind of social savant here about how to handle public conversations and what you're allowed to say. You're a fucking Twitch streamer, man. All of us as streamers are not exactly the most socially gifted. Like, let's just face the facts here. So why are you trying to act like the authority on the matter here, as if you're some kind of social guru who's now giving a lecture to your community about what is and is not allowed in a public conversation? It's fucking goofy. It's very silly.
How are you? Good? Or, you know what? I'll make it through. Awesome. Love to hear it. See, there you go. Or Prom's response. Yeah, I said, Prom, how are you doing? She says, I'm alive.
You know what's just as easy as those two responses is you being able to respond with some level of empathy like, oh man, that's terrible, I'm sorry to hear that. Or, damn, that's awful news, stay strong. Or, man, shit, that's terrible, hopefully today's stream can lift your spirits a bit. Like, you also have equally easy responses to, like, instead of dwell on the negative here and for some reason try and shame her for answering your question honestly, you could have just as easily had a very simple and empathetic response to it and moved on from it. But instead, now you're putting all of it on her and blaming her for bringing down the entire atmosphere, as if she somehow forced you to enter your goofo mode here, your insano style tantrum that you're throwing. Like, it is your fault. You could have either not asked the question if you didn't want, like, real answers, or you could have had some level of empathy and just given, like, a general, decent response like, damn, awful news, sorry to hear that, stay strong. And then just go about, like, a good vibed stream. Like, it's super easy.
Oh, I asked you where you were. Look, Mr. Kirby, I'm just subtly trying to tell you that unloading really heavy news in people's chats on Twitch is not like good etiquette. It's not the place to do it. That's all I'm trying to tell you. Heavy news like that, when someone asks, hey, where have you been? You don't need to tell them, well, my dog died, my husband left me for a younger woman, my house burnt down, and my car got stolen. So I've been a little bit busy. That's why I haven't been around. Because it's like, oh, God, like, ugh.
Oh, God, your bad news is making my easy job just a little stressful, because now I've heard your fucking bad news, like, ugh. Like, can you have some level of shame? Can you stop having bad things happen to you and then share it with me when I ask? Like, fuck. God, where do you get off? What a stupid perspective, bro. What are you talking about? That's not even what they did. You asked them a question and they gave a simple response to it. Now, for a little further context, she, in her first response, accidentally led with, like, a laughing emotion. So she led with, like, LMAO because she was responding to, like, a joke he had told and then answered his question about her mom passing away. She got a little concerned that it was going to be misconstrued like she was joking about that. So then she clarified again that, no, like, it's just been a rough time. It's just been horrible. So she said it, like, twice or 3 times in total, but it was never to dwell on it or try and treat him like a therapist or treat chat like it was a self-help subreddit or something. She just answered his question but didn't like her first answer because she thought it might get misconstrued, so then just said, like, no, it's just been bad, and that's where it was. She didn't try and, like, keep pressing it further or anything. For some reason, he did. He took it and ran with it and made it an overwhelmingly negative thing and then shamed her publicly in front of the entire community for it, which is so fucking weird and terrible thing to do. Now, like I said in the very beginning, I do understand the perspective of not wanting your community to treat it like it's like a therapy session where they're dropping really heavy things going on in their personal lives into the Twitch chat or asking you to solve the problems for them. I do agree that that is just not the time nor the place, and that's not going to help the person either. That's not going to help them or anyone else around you that needs, like, professional help and someone to actually be there and qualified to give real helpful advice to that person that's struggling. And Twitch chat is the last place you'd want to go for anything real. So I do agree, like, that is never a good case, like, that's never a good situation to be in, but that's not the situation this streamer was in. He had asked a community member that he knew a question, and it was a personal question. Where have you been? Now I'm waiting for your answer. And they explained, well, it's just been a bad time because her mom had passed away. And that's it. She didn't, like, keep going forward about it, like, to try and, like, make it all about what she's going through. She just answered his question point blank. And for some reason, he went off the rails about it.
Like, you know, like, if someone asks, like, hey, what's up? Where have you been? And it's heavy, just be like, I had a bunch of shit going on, so I've been lying low for a little while. Got it. That's it. I'm not trying to rip you a new ass.
Yeah, not trying to rip you a new ass, just trying to embarrass you in front of the entire stream. The lack of self-awareness here. Buddy, that is kind of exactly what she did, but instead of just saying, I've got some shit that I'm going through, so I was lying low, she said, well, family member passed away, so I was lying low. That's it. She didn't continue to, like, go through the nitty-gritty on everything that happened. She did almost exactly what you said, but was a little more specific on exactly what that shit was. But in essence, it's the same thing. Would you have still melted down if she had said, I had a lot of bad, horrible things happen, so I was laying low for a bit? I don't think so. You probably would have just given a normal, like, decent human response like, man, sorry to hear that. Hope that shit clears up soon. Why couldn't you have had that same level-headed, rational response to her just being a bit more specific with what that horrible thing she was going through was? She didn't just dump everything on you and expect you to you know, like, coddle her or do something special. Like, she just answered your question. So this is where the viral clip ends, but he did have a response to this, and it's really worse than you're probably imagining. But before getting to his response, I want to hit you with a bucket of cold water to shock you with some statistics here. 93% of all Twitch streamers pull less than 5 viewers, so anything more than 5 immediately puts you in the top 6.7% of the site. These are old numbers too. These are from 2021, so I imagine this is only grown. So why am I bringing this up? Well, because the streamer who right now is catching more tomatoes than the goddamn Heinz ketchup factory is not a huge streamer. At least not by most people on Twitter's definition of a big streamer. He has around 55 average viewers, and to put that in perspective, that does put him in the top 1% of Twitch, at least based on the numbers I'm seeing. Because again, the vast majority of streamers are streaming to actually 0 people. Crickets. You have better luck getting your old high school classmates to watch your Facebook live stream than you do getting found on Twitch and starting a community from nothing. So everyone that's just writing him off as a nobody and fuck small streamers, who cares what they are saying or what their opinion is, I hate that perspective, and I will always hate that perspective. The mentality around numbers is so like fucked up these days that they can't recognize how big of a number 55 average viewers is. Like, yes, it's not the biggest streamers on Twitch, but that's still a pretty large number when put in perspective with how big the market is and how saturated it is. But this ties into the bigger point I want to make on the back of those numbers. The market being as saturated as it is, carving out a community being as tough as it is, the last thing you want to do is fuck it up, which is exactly what this guy has just done. He's currently streaming right now with like 140 viewers, which is more than he normally averages, but I imagine the majority of this is hate watchers hoping to just shit on him in the chat. And I've already seen it from a couple of his subs. Some people were saying how disappointed they were in him. And that's a really big deal, because when you have a really tight-knit community, once the viewers start feeling like you don't actually give a fuck about them at all, or that you're kind of a piece of shit, they probably won't stick around because there's so many other streamers that they'll just go to. So this will potentially end up being a huge problem for him. His first response was this on Twitter, where he's just taking full responsibility for being an asshole, which I guess is fine. Like, he's just saying, yeah, I just was a real piece of shit here. But then 12 hours later, he made an apology video and doubled down on everything from his initial Twitter clip.
Firstly, it is well known in my channel that I do not tolerate heavy news, drama, or trauma dumping, if you will, being entered or dropped into the chat. This has been discussed and explained and made clear many times while I've been live over the last 4+ years that I've been on Twitch. The people that come to my channel often, they know this. They see it all the time. So that's something that I want to make sure everyone understands.
He directly blames her for violating his terms of service for being a chatter, basically, saying, I have very strict rules, you're not allowed to kill vibes with bad news or anything drama-related or heavy. Okay, then don't ask questions that could potentially lead to, like, someone being honest with you, man. Not everything in the world is going to be sunshine and rainbows. So why ask a question to your viewers that they might just be open about if you don't want to actually hear it? You know, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, and why are you blaming her? You're fucking blaming the victim here in this situation. What a terrible look. When you had already in your previous tweet sang a very different tune, where you're like, yeah, this one's kind of on me, I was a douchebag. What changed? All of a sudden now, you woke up this morning and you feel like you're not a douchebag, you're a superhero. In fact, she's the villain because she didn't follow your strict chat rules.
This is not the first time that she's violated the expectation that people not share heavy news in my channel. The frustration from having her argue in chat that she was, quote, just answering my question, even though she's been spoken to about this type of thing before.
Calling this an apology is a disservice to apologies. He is literally just justifying his reaction and saying it's all her fault. She violated our expectation of her in chat and then said she has a history of doing it. And in her statement, one of her twitlongers, she clarifies a bit deeper on what he's talking about. And he's pretty misleading with the way he portrays what happened here. Again, you asked her a question, she answered it. So the quote, I was just answering your question, is very accurate because that is all she was doing, man.
Frowned upon. Dude, I'm getting follows right now. From Joe JCKS. Bro Chacho, welcome to the channel, dude. Thanks for the follow. Yeah.
He even acknowledges that maybe he should edit that out and then decides not to. You should have edited that out. That's what a big yikes moment there. In your fucking apology, not an apology, in your blaming, pointing the finger video, you get a follower, take a moment to say thanks for the follow and like just call out the follower during this? What a bad look. How could you not recognize that as a potential problem? But regardless, the actual video he has made here is not a good response. It is somehow even worse than the initial one with the doubling down and trying to justify it. Like, just have an obvious common sense level-headed response like, yep, I overreacted, this was stupid, I shouldn't have done that, I don't even know what I was thinking, I must have just been in a bad mood. Like it was just so easy to move on from this, but instead, you doubled down, and now you look real silly for it. That's about it. So yeah. Everyone knows that public nuisance streamers that go around harassing strangers, causing a commotion, and just making everyone's lives around them more miserable suck. Like, that's not a hot take. Everyone knows that. They're just this miasma of cringe that cause everyone a massive headache. But, as I and many others have pointed out for years now, they do inspire an entire generation of young viewers to be losers like them. Because they do find an audience, they do find success, they make money from it. So it becomes a career path and something that young kids want to do to try and emulate that behavior and be like them. It's fucking tragic, and now we're starting to see the results of all of this.
What the fuck? Put your hand in my food again, and I'm throwing all of your phones.
Hey, you're not touching our phone.
Don't put your hand in my food again. Do not do that. You don't do that.
This young whippersnapper can't be older than 11 years old, and he's already becoming a scourge. He's trying to do what all of the other public nuisance streamers do by just being a societal hemorrhoid. He still has his baby teeth. He hasn't even gotten his adult teeth yet, and he's already doing this shit. He just graduated from suckling milk out of his mother's bosom, and now he's trying to suckle milk out of Jack Doherty's titties here. He's just trying to get that clout through being a piece of shit. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, Charles, are you really going to be insulting an 11-year-old here? And the answer is a resounding absolutely. This needs to be squashed. You gotta put the kibosh on this immediately to learn that this is not acceptable at all. So absolutely, I will be insulting this kid and the entire goof troop that travels with him for these streams. Now, he has thankfully been banned for this, which is one of the very few times I've ever seen Kick ban someone. I imagine it's not a permaban, but it 100% should be. I guess we'll have to wait and see if it is. Yeah, though, this shit absolutely super sucks. So I'm doing a public service here by insulting them. Hopefully it discourages more people like this, and hopefully this kid grows and learns that it's awful. It's not even good content. People are watching you because you are a clown, and they're sitting on the edge of their seat waiting for you to get your ass beat. That is your entire audience. You are a fucking spittoon that they are spitting in. Why would you want that to be your whole brand? His whole stream is basically either arguing or fighting people, and this is him just taking food from a stranger's table. That lady then goes up to confront him, and I'll show you that clip in a moment. But in the same stream, he also gets in an actual fistfight with some other kids. His whole stream is just creating problems and instigating, hoping that someone will fight back, and he just yells and screams about it, or in this case, throws some wet noodle punches at them. So him and his goof troop fight this other group, and they know that they're not going to get their ass beat because they're too young. So the group that's taking these punches doesn't actually fire back. They push him away at one point, but they don't actually swing on him because they know they would be the ones to get in trouble because this is a toddler. So they're using their age as a shield because they know there's going to be no real repercussions.
Don't put your hand in my food again. Do not do that. You don't do that to people.
Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are?
Stop filming me.
You're a nobody.
It's a live stream. You can't stop me.
Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you?
Give me the phone.
Now you're not touching my fucking phone. Touch my phone, I'm gonna actually do something.
Are you gonna beat me up?
Back the fuck up. Back the fuck. I will.
How old are you? 5?
Kid's making threats to this woman, then he also has his friend, behind her just in case. It seems like he was contemplating sucker punching her. That's what it seemed like the synapses in his brain were about to fire and tell him to do there. This is his whole stream with him and his friends just wandering around, making problems with complete strangers for no reason. And I'm also using the term friends very loosey-goosey here because I have a hunch that they're not actually his friends. They probably can't stand to be around this annoying shit stain. They're just here because he has some viewers and they're trying to elevate themselves. That's typically how these stories go. I think it's also worth mentioning that he has clearly been heavily inspired by Jack Doherty. Jack Doherty is another public nuisance streamer who does this exact same style of content where he just travels around, makes problems, causes a ruckus, and he has a bodyguard with him so that when anyone tries to confront Jack, the bodyguard steps in and either attacks that person or scares them away and sizes them up, gets them out of there to protect Jack Doherty from the consequences of his actions while Jack peeks around the bodyguard still lobbing insults at him like a real tough guy. Also, Jack Doherty is probably about the same size as this 11-year-old. So, the reason I say that he's clearly inspired by him is because this kid also travels around with a bodyguard. That's who that dweeb with the TikTok broccoli hair was that's positioned behind the woman here. That's supposed to be this kid's muscle. Or backup, perhaps. Maybe sidekick. I believe it's supposed to be his bodyguard, though, like Jack Doherty has. But the clear difference between Jack Doherty's bodyguard and this kid's is Jack's is a full-grown adult man who is like a professional bodyguard. This kid's is another child who's still afraid of the dentist and probably still wearing Pampers and the head of the anime club. But he is still trying very hard to be like Jack Doherty. And the question needs to be asked, where are their parents? Where in the fucking world are these kids' parental figures?
Do you? Alright, hold up. Do you?
Don't do that again.
Hold up. Yeah, shut the fuck up. Let's go.
I couldn't imagine anything more painful as a parent than seeing your son like this, or any of the kids in this group here. It'd be less shameful if they were just addicted to heroin. Now, I know a lot of people default to blaming the parents here because that's a really easy thing to point the finger at, especially with so many parents just sitting their kids in front of an iPad and letting them doom scroll the internet and letting the internet raise their kids. But in a case like this, I don't necessarily know if that's 100% how this happened. I think even if you're someone who's very active in their kids' lives, they can just stumble across something like a kick streamer like Jack Doherty and see him flexing his wealth and be, blown away by that, getting stars in their eyes and be like, I want to be like that. And no matter what the parent does, they can't really snap them out of it. That's just something the kid's going to have to learn through failure and learning that they're going to end up alone and a loser by trying to be like Jack Doherty. But I think there is a clear problem here that the parents aren't here. Like, they're just letting their 11-year-olds wander around IRL streaming. Under no circumstances should a child of this age be fucking IRL streaming on Kick. Kick is a platform that actually has child predators on it. There was a whole expose video about a big streamer who was legitimately a fucking predator. And their kids are now streaming IRL on that platform right now. And even on any platform, I don't think any kids should be doing any kind of streams like this. So I really am curious why the parents aren't more present in their life to allow them to stream for hours like this. That's just downright irresponsible, 100%. But I don't necessarily blame them for the kid trying to be a Jack Doherty clone, a bootleg Jack Doherty. That's something that even if the parents were monitoring their internet usage, he may have just stumbled across through TikTok or Twitter or something and then just got hooked on it. And that's a hard thing to stop as a parent. I do understand that part, but they definitely need to know that this is not acceptable behavior or normal behavior for kids to be doing. Fucking streaming, being an asshole. Come on. The parents definitely got to step up here and do something, I would say. Unfortunately, I don't think this is going to be the last time we see a kid start to do streams like this. I really do think that streamers like Jack Doherty, who I keep name dropping, but it's just so clear his influence on this kid's life, really do create further degenerates. They just continue this cycle of degeneracy by making more people like this. And it sucks. That shit is terrible. So hopefully I'm wrong and we won't see more cases like this. But man, it's still awful. Even with just one case, that one kid was inspired enough to start trying to do the same thing. It's sad to see. And yeah, I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. That's about it. So yeah. Garfield likes lasagna. I like to make fun of weirdos. Big whoop. What, you want to sue me for that? What's the charge? Enjoying a meal? A succulent Chinese meal? Point is, I keep my finger on the pulse of wackos and weenies, and I like to shoot spitballs at them. And today, there was a pretty dangerous weirdo that stream sniped a group that was doing some IRL content in the hopes that he would get one of their numbers. And when faced with rejection, he blew a gasket, had a conniption, and it got ballistic quick. So let's go ahead and start with the genesis here, where we were first introduced to this homunculus. It was in the middle of an IRL stream with Senna, Valky, Ray, and Imiru, And then this very interesting, gentle sir approached them.
Oh, I think 3 years. And I came at like 6 in the morning. Oh, yeah.
Where is that, Emily? Is that? No way. Yo, can I get a picture with you?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Let's get a picture. Wait, but can I rap to you real quick?
It starts innocently enough. He approaches the group as if he just wandered across them by happenstance and says, "Can I get a picture?" And he seems, well behaved. Nothing too concerning here at all. There was nothing he was doing in the beginning that was cause for alarm. But this was just the calm before the storm, the fart before the shit.
This is Cinna. Hello.
I was waiting for it.
Nice to meet you. Hi.
My name's Russell.
Hi, nice to meet you. Emily, could you take
Rosie.
a photo?
Rosie, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
My name's Russell.
Russell.
She can take a pic. Oh, we can't because we have a. We're on a time.
What stuff you
Yeah,
gotta
we're
do?
on a time limit.
There's
So.
no time frame.
Did you want to pic? Oh, sorry. Excuse us. Sorry.
Okay, so.
Do you need a photo?
Oh yeah.
He shakes all of their hands, and then he just kind of posts up there. He just slabs up, standing there menacingly, doing nothing. And Rosie reminds him, like, "Hey, picture? That's the whole reason you stopped us in the first place." And he's like, "Oh, right, yeah, that's what I was doing. Picture, yeah, of course."
Why do they say rhyme?
Because his name's Russell.
Did you call me Russell?
No, his name is Russell.
Oh!
She's had a long week.
I am running on like 3 hours of sleep. Please forgive me. My brain is actually like lagged.
Alright, fuck. Let's take a picture. Fuck it, let's get one, Rosie. Come on.
Cute!
Okay.
Rosie too!
Nice to meet you.
Thanks, Russell.
Nice to meet you.
How you doing?
Good night. Oh, he's so sweet.
Russell's a nice guy.
This was their first encounter with the raid boss Rizlord, and you can see that they didn't get the heebie-jeebies or anything. They even walked away saying, "Russell is a nice guy." He said his name was Russell, so they were saying he was nice. But they couldn't have known how poorly that statement would age. It's kind of like Jar Jar Binks, where you thought he was just an innocent, goofy thing, but it turns out was actually a Sith Lord the entire time. So, after they met him here, some time passes, and they eventually encounter him again, but this time, he's wearing different clothes.
Yes, please.
Oh God.
Oh god, yes, that is. Can I sing for a change? A change for the better, as you would say?
Okay.
And the change would be for her number.
Oh is right. Stomach churning anti-Riz. Yuck. Ooh, that's rough stuff right there. He said, "Can I sing for a change? A change for the better, as you would say." A change for her number. Shakespeare just rolled over in his grave. That is poetic. Wow. What a way with words. I don't even know how you can cook up something so foul. It's just trash. Pardon me, m'ladies. I attend slightly above average sized penis university. I'm on the dean's list. May I interest you in my number?
If you'd like it, can I get your number?
I don't have a phone.
Wait, put your number in mine.
I don't know how to use a phone. I'm sorry.
Wait. So I'm gonna keep following her.
Huh?
I'm gonna keep following her.
Not another one.
I know. You're gonna have to get in line. There's too many stalkers.
That's not how you really riz.
Bro, what the fuck?
That's not the riz.
What an excellent way of handling rejection. I'm gonna keep following her. No doubt that will work. I'm sure pestering her to put her number in your phone is the optimal play there.
Get behind me. Okay. Oh my God.
Kendrick.
Are we getting churros?
Kendrick, add him to the list.
So the group is walking away from him. He apparently is in hot pursuit, and he is steaming. At first, it seemed like he tried to, play it off as not that big of a deal, and he, used stalking as somewhat of, a joke, because he was laughing about it. But that fake laughter soon turned to real tears, real anger, and made a real dangerous situation where he threatened to kill them.
I think we're just gonna go.
Let's go. Oh, no, we're not.
What's up, huh?
Hey, excuse me?
No!
Security?
Emily, no!
Hey,
Stop!
Whoa!
Let's fucking fight right now.
What?
Get away from
now.
Hey, what's going
Security!
He's harassing us.
What's going on? What's going on, man?
Right now. Kill you right now. Kill you right now.
Security, please!
Security!
That's where the stream ended. They said that the police had arrived and everyone was alright. There's a lot to unpack there. So, the guy who just got rejected, he stayed on their tail like it was a fucking Assassin's Creed escort mission, and you can hear him arguing with someone saying, "I'll fight you right now." It continues to escalate to where he starts to like run at them or maybe like lunge at them like it's a fucking Five Nights at Freddy's jump scare where he's like going after them now saying, "I'll kill you right now, I'll kill you right now." It sounds and seems like security was there stopping him from going after the group further. It's just a scary situation from top to bottom. All because Imiru didn't give this weirdo stranger her number. And he just freaked out, threatened to kill them, chased them, just deranged shit. And I've also seen, of course, I don't even know why I bothered to bring it up, but I was reading the conspiracies on this from the crowd that thinks it was all staged and fake and they're trying to find this actor's backstage page. So that's been kind of a fun little rabbit hole to dive into. As a actor, I starred in the Hunger Games. I don't like to bring it up all that much. Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1 District 8 Hospital Helper. I can recognize acting when I see it. That dude is not acting. He needs to be institutionalized. That man is a fucking loose cannon. I've also seen some people turn this around on the streamers saying that it's their fault. They brought it upon themselves. They were asking for it by not having security guards with them, like surrounded by bodyguards. A fascinating perspective to argue that they're to blame. Like, you were out at night. It's like covering yourself in meat and diving into the ocean. You think a man's not going to attack you if you're not surrounded by bodyguards? Are you out of your mind? Obviously this is going to happen. And it's like, well, it shouldn't. That doesn't excuse it. Like, it's not something that should be considered normal, that a dude's just gonna fucking threaten to kill them and like chase them around threatening to kill them if you don't give him your number. That's not something we should just be expecting and think is normal. Like, I understand in the streaming space, there's a lot of, like, huge streamers that when they do IRL content do travel with security. But it's not every IRL streamer that does, because when you're doing content like this, typically you're thinking about the content, or, like, what you're gonna do. You're just having fun with friends. You're not exactly thinking about, like, the potential maniac on the loose that's going to just fucking come out of nowhere and go hog wild if you don't give him your number. So, like, yes, I understand security has become much more normal for streamers when they're out in public, but it's not every streamer that has it, and I don't think by not having it, you should be blamed if something happens. Like, I think that is a crazy perspective to have, that it's their fault because they didn't have security. I don't agree with that take at all. Yeah, security obviously would have helped, and I imagine going forward, they probably won't go outside again on stream without, like, a whole fucking security unit, like the Justice League defending them or something, because this was, I imagine, a very stressful and scary situation to be in, because that guy could have had a weapon or something, right? But it's really ridiculous to blame them for this by not having a security team. I think that shit is so ass backwards. Anyway, though, no telling what happened after the stream went out. All we know is the police did arrive and everyone was safe. Don't know if they brought the dude in or what, but they said they were going to go live here today to kind of talk about what happened and all of that. So I guess we'll get more information then, but luckily everyone is safe, and yeah, this guy is a fucking dangerous weirdo loser. That's about it. So yeah. It's baffling how common it is for people to live stream their most embarrassing moments on purpose. They're filming their own lowlights, their own worst ofs for the montage of shame. Things most people would want buried forever, they are proudly with a smile on their face broadcasting to their audience for content. Today, an extremely trashy stream clip has gone viral with a streamer named Elisa Jordana firing up a live stream after learning that her boyfriend has been cheating on her. I'm going to go through most of what happens in the stream, but the clip everyone's seen, which we'll get to towards the end, is at the very end of the stream. It's about 2 hours and 20 minutes. She gets her boyfriend in the car, and then she starts attacking him while she's driving. So she starts physically hitting him. And then she hits him very hard in the nose, like a full-blown strike to the nose, like a fucking monk's palm strike to his nose. It was quite a wallop. Like, if she was playing that boxing bag game that you see at bars where it measures your punch and it, like, grades your force up to 999, she probably would have scored, like, a 700 with that strike. So it definitely could have caused some damage. She threatens to kill him, and then she continues to escalate it. She grabs on his ear and starts pulling on it, and then he starts fighting back. So he starts fighting her. He starts yanking on her hair, telling her to stop the car, and she does stop the car. He continues yanking and pulling on her. She gets out of the car. He gets out of the car, chases her down, and then he gets back in the car and turns the stream off. Without a doubt, one of the worst live streams I can think of in recent memory. It's hard to watch. It's awful. It's crimes. Like, you're watching crimes unfold.
He lied so much to me. He lied so much to me. And he lied and he told her I'm just like a streamer and it was just an investment. And like the whole time he was talking to me, he was talking to her. The whole time.
Gadzooks, what in the fuck would possibly possess you to want to start a live stream after learning something so heavy? That makes no sense. How poisoned must your brain be to possibly come up with an idea like this? Learning that your boyfriend has been cheating on you, and then immediately turning it into a stream for content? That's incomprehensible. I don't understand why people want to broadcast every single waking moment of their lives to a bunch of strangers online, a ton of goobers who are just going to sit back, tossing popcorn down their gullet because it's just entertainment to them, even though it's your life that's being ruined in real time. Why do that? Fucking Jack Bauer couldn't torture me enough to force me to go live after learning something like this. He could put all the jumper cables he wants on my nipples and scrotum. I still wouldn't do it because it's a horrible thing to want to put out there. I couldn't even imagine just firing up the stream. Hey guys, this one's going to be a little bit different than usual. Turns out she's getting piped by another man right now. They're steaming ham as we speak. Oh, thanks for the $6. Charlie's girl is slobbering on my meat. Ha ha ha.
And sending her money on Venmo.
Yeah, but why are you surprised?
I'm not surprised, Brandon. I'm not surprised. Actually, I'll go to Tanger's Outlets right here.
I just don't get why you would cry over him, dude. Like, you already got money. You already supposedly got money from him.
I did, but he still was very bad, Brandon.
Yeah, so what do you think would happen if you're going to marry him, this and that?
I'm not marrying him, Brandon. I'm obviously not marrying him.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you...
She then goes for this joyride, or lack thereof joy, and it's the most distracted driving I've ever seen. No exaggeration. She doesn't even pretend to be paying attention to the road. She is glued to her phone or reading the chat, I believe, because she does get donations. She has text-to-speech enabled, so she is getting donations throughout this stream. And she is always looking at something other than the road. That is extremely dangerous, not only to herself, but all of the people on the road around her. And you can see that she busts out that crazy U-turn and gets honked at because that came out of fucking nowhere like a jump scare to all the other drivers. This is just, it's unhinged. This is, again, unacceptable. It's illegal. You can't be driving like this. I understand she's upset after finding out her partner's been unfaithful. Anyone in the world would feel the same way. But not many people in the world would handle it the way she is, by starting up a fucking live stream for people to be tuned in on with everything. Not only is she very dangerously behaving here on the road, but then she then starts just dropping all kinds of personal information publicly. Just publicly revealing a lot of things that 100% should stay private.
Why is that a no? Okay, I'm gonna go to Tanker's Outlet actually with his card right now. All right, let's do that.
Tanger's Outlet. Let's go on a shopping spree.
Hope you find your way home. 48 JSK.
Not that much money left. Should I spend this money? Sparrows for everyone?
Another lore dump for you for why she drove to the mall here. It's because she had his wallet and stated she wanted to go on a bit of a shopping spree with his cards. And then on stream, she actually opens his wallet and shows his driver's license and says, should I drop his cards in the Discord? So threatening to also just show his cards to her community. She then takes money out of his wallet and says, should I buy food for everyone? Those are all crimes. Again, you're compiling evidence against yourself. You're doing the police's job for them. You are actually showcasing criminal activity. Now, unless I miss something, she doesn't actually spend any of his money. She doesn't actually use any of his cards there. She just makes the threats that she could and would do so. She does, however, actually open his wallet, and you can see his driver's license clearly because she's bouncing it around like something out of the Disney Channel. So you can see that, but I don't think you can make out any of his other cards. But regardless, this whole thing should have never been put online. I don't know why she made the decision to start streaming this. Again, she does have text-to-speech donations enabled, so it's possible that this is all just to get some, like, money from people that are sympathizing with her because she's going through something horrible. Getting cheated on sucks. But the way she's handling it is fucking awful. She's distracted driving, dangerously putting other people's lives at risk on the road, threatening to commit some criminal actions live. And then it ends with her assaulting him, physically assaulting him live. Like, this is a horrible fucking stream.
Dreams, and he thought, oh, Discord's stupid. A lot of people say that, right? So all of Scora's private information, as well Sarah's phone number, Sarah's address, her full name, her Venmo account, transactions, are all
James
the
donated $5. Girl, is your Mexican girl hot?
It sounds as though Elisa has fully doxed the guy and the girl here, posting all of their private information in her Discord, which is illegal. You can't do that. I also think it's worth mentioning, since you caught a glimpse of it there, anytime that girl, Sarah, is brought up during this stream, both Elisa and the community of pay piggies that's donating to her always make sure to mention that she's Mexican. And they make statements in the chat about that as well. Throughout the stream, reading the chat, there were so many moments of genuine racism, it was fucking sickening.
I called Sarah, you fucking bitch. I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm gonna fucking kill you. Sorry.
You had hit him in my presence.
Okay, I'm not going to talk about the bad topic.
Well, I should talk about it.
No, I said I'm going to stop talking about it.
Okay, good. No, it's not okay.
You ever been cheated on for 2 years with a 20-year-old Mexican?
I'm not getting into my business.
Okay, all right, well, I'm just telling you that's my business. I really don't want to talk to you.
This happened shortly before the viral clip from this stream where she starts hitting him in the car. So prior to them getting in the vehicle, she pushed him outside, and it was actually observed by someone who confronted her about it, because in this instance, her violent outburst was in broad daylight in view of public and bystanders. So someone came up to her, I believe it was an officer, and talked to her about it, and even during this talk, Elisa still finds a way to mention that the other girl is Mexican.
Hello? Hi, Sarah, how are you? How are you, Sarah? Hi. Thanks so much for calling. I'm just gonna send you like 6 months of texts of your nudes and different sentences that he.
Sarah, I'm sorry about this.
Don't talk. Don't fucking talk.
Idiot.
Yes, Sarah, we're really sorry about this. I'm sending him your way today.
Fucking.
Yeah. No, so Bahram. How do you pronounce it? Do you know? I don't know.
Shut the fuck up, cunt.
Yeah, what's up?
She's half your age. She's half your age.
Delete the number, please.
I cut out the ending here because it's a lot. Like, even this much, I don't even know if YouTube will allow me to show. I'm really not sure. It's legitimate assault. So she hits him a couple of times, the nose hit by far being the biggest blow. And then after where I cut it off, he grabs her hair and starts yanking and pulling on her, and she starts talking about how he's killing her, and the car stops, and then eventually she gets out of the car, he chases her down. I think she gets in another vehicle in the background, and then he comes back into the car and turns the stream off. It's it's a horrifying thing to watch, to be honest. As of right now, Elisa has been arrested. Her mugshot and booking information is all out there for this incident. There's no update on the guy or what's going on with that part of all of this, but what a fucking awful live stream. Now on Twitter there's been a lot of debate about this video on whether or not the man's actions were justified in this situation, and most people are saying that they were, claiming that he was acting in self-defense. And it seems like the law would agree with them on that take, because from everything I can find, he hasn't been booked or charged with anything. Now, I think it's important we remember that the guy in this video is no saint. He cheated on his significant other. That is the behavior of a piece of shit. But under no circumstances does anyone deserve to be beaten like this. He's not a good guy, but he is still the victim of an assault. And I think all of the video evidence suggests that this was a case of self-defense. He didn't lash out at her or strike at her until she went in again for like the third or fourth time, assaulting him. And then he did fight back. Now, I do think there is a case to be made that he may have taken it too far, because he does yank and pull on her for quite some time, even once the car comes to a complete stop. So I think he probably could have gotten out of the car at that point and just left the situation entirely, but I also don't know the entire situation on where it was stopped, if it may have been dangerous to do so, I don't know. But overall, I do agree that this does seem to be him defending himself, like, from getting attacked in this vehicle. Overall, this was a fucking awful live stream. And I really don't think this is going to be the last of its kind that we see, because it feels like it's getting more and more common with people wanting to live stream every moment of their lives, even the worst parts of it. So there'll probably be more things like this in the future, which sucks. I think it's just an awful direction, but just wanted to talk about this. That's about it. See ya. We're in a very perplexing pickle here, because I'm the gladiator of goofiness, the savant of silly, so anytime there's a weird situation that's a bit wacky, people update me on it, and usually I'll giggle about it, maybe I'll make something covering it. But now, today, there's something that a lot of people seem to think is a really humorous, silly situation, when I don't view it that way at all. In fact, I view it as an extremely sad, distressing situation. It's everything that's been happening with FouseyTube. If you're like me with gray hairs in your beard, that name might ring a little bell in your cobweb-covered brain, because it's a name that's as old as YouTube itself, really. He was around a long time ago doing pranks and all kinds of shit, and he was a big name back then. But he had a mental health meltdown that kind of caused him to step away from content creation for a while to work on himself and try and better his actual life away from the internet. And now he's come back as an IRL live streamer, broadcasting pretty much every waking moment of his life on camera. And it is probably the worst thing that could have possibly happened to him. His streams blew up. He got all of the clout he'd ever dreamed of. And he immediately became corrupted and poisoned by it. His broadcast went from the beginning being pretty wholesome and community-driven, like fun stuff from what I recall when he first came back. It was actually kind of cool to root for like an OG YouTuber stepping into a different ballpark, and he seemed like he was in a much better headspace. But then his numbers kept going up. And as those numbers kept climbing, so too did his ego, until he reached his absolute boiling point and crossed the event horizon of maximal douchebaggery. He became his own worst enemy. He would insult people if they were poor. His main insult was about people's financial status and well-being. He became completely corrupted by clout. He was like Gollum, with the One Ring ruining his mind. That was FouseyTube's precious attention. And as his mental health deteriorated, his online presence was only bolstered. People kept tuning in to see what wild thing was going to happen next. What kind of incredible, loud rant is Fousey going to go on next? Just encouraging this downward spiral as people shoved popcorn in their face gluttonously, consuming a man's mental health meltdown on stream. And it really started reaching its boiling point about 2 weeks ago. While on stream, FouseyTube was at an airport and met a woman, and she was very clearly super drunk. She was hammered. And the two got to talking, and eventually she revealed that she was actually the victim of human trafficking at one point in her life. And how did FouseyTube respond to that information? By apparently having sex with her in the airport bathroom. He came back on stream after like a 10-minute break, giddy, and he was saying about how he just joined the Mile High Club. Well, not exactly the Mile High Club, because they were still at the airport, but you know, we just fucking boinked in the toilets over there. And he was so pleased, and then his community turned on him. They were like, wow, that's actually extremely fucked up. She's super drunk, and she also just confided in you that she was the victim of human trafficking. How could you have done this, Fousey? You just took advantage of this woman. This is really degenerate, unforgivable shit. So then he very quickly tried to like play it off as a joke, and he wasn't being serious. Like, haha, no, haha, not real, didn't actually happen. Ha, you guys fell for a timeless classic prank. Get pranked, epic style prank, not real, didn't actually do that. When it seems like that's exactly what happened, and this is like Twitter in a nutshell with absolute unhinged lunacy. I did see some people defending this by saying, yeah, but he also raised money for her, so he should have been allowed to have sex with her anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. What they're referring to is he asked his community to donate to her, and they raised like $2,500 for her. And that's apparently an excuse for having sex with an extremely drunk woman who also had just confided in you that she was the victim of human trafficking at some point. It's so alarming seeing people try and rationalize and justify it. That is concerning. Like, that is just downright fucking alarming. But anyway, FouseyTube did face backlash for that, but it actually only made him even more popular because it put FouseyTube's mental health on a bigger stage for more people to see. So more spectators funneled in to watch the train wreck unfold every single day, because he was broadcasting fucking 24/7 basically. A lot of people just kept coming in to point and laugh at the freak show. Look at this crazy guy doing crazy shit. Everyone come watch and laugh at this guy as he broadcasts a very serious mental illness, and as it continues to only get worse. Ha ha. And last night, he ended up getting arrested on stream. I don't even know where to begin with this stream. I actually watched like the last 2 hours of it because even before that, things were looking really bad. FouseyTube had assaulted 2 people earlier in the stream last night after they had only lightly bruised his ego over very minor things. He had been yelling and insulting a ton of people. It was looking really bad. He legitimately looked like he was a danger to not only himself, but others. There was also some unlovable, kissless virgin, loser, turbo, insufferable asshole troll that was calling and harassing FouseyTube's family and threatening their life, threatening his life, which of course only continued to push Fousey down this path. The troll was like threatening his family, threatening Fousey, which only made everything significantly worse, obviously. He ended up getting kicked out of an Airbnb and then checking into a hotel where he had a manic episode again and ended up calling the police. And he basically swatted himself.
The fucking questions, send the fucking cops. Send the cops. There's a gun to my head right now. There's a gun to my head. Help, ma'am, he left. Ma'am, he left. There's a gun to my head. Help, get them. Help, bye. Ma'am, Intercontinental, what's my room number? Help, tell me. 2020.
He spent like the last 45 minutes of the stream in a panicked, manic state where he was very afraid of that troll who was making threats against his family and himself. And he ended up calling the police, hoping that they could go arrest him and take him away to try and, fix this whole situation. And it was only made worse because the troll kept pushing him. Like earlier in the stream, Fousey had apparently like fallen in love with this girl and she had like broke up with him, and the troll took credit for it, claiming that he had actually planted that girl there so Fousey would fall in love with her and then she'd break his heart. So he mentions that multiple times in the last 45 minutes because he truly believed that that girl he met was a fucking plant from this troll who's controlling every aspect of his life now. Even the girl he had fallen in love with was actually on the troll's payroll working for him in order to hurt Fousey. So it was this just very, very sad thing to watch unfold. And the police respond, obviously. He called them and said that, his life was in danger. There was a fucking gun to his head. So the police do actually show up.
He's a stalker.
Okay, and who is this guy?
I don't fucking know.
So how do you want us to look for him if you don't know where he is?
I have his address.
What is his address?
I said grab my security 20 minutes ago. You guys are dumb as fuck, man. You guys are literally dumb as fuck.
There's conflicting information on if it's an actual arrest or if they're just detaining him because he is having this mental health episode. He was yelling and screaming at them and saying a bunch of things that obviously didn't make much sense. So, because he was so irate and so deeply disturbed, it seems like the cops arrested him and detained him. And I truly believe that that was actually for the best. I think if this stream continued, he would have ended up hurting himself or somebody. He was in a very intense, very manic state that could have ended very poorly. I watched this all happen live in real time, and there was nothing entertaining about it. People were losing their mind about how entertaining it was. W-stream, this shit is amazing. Because there's such a disconnect from the internet, like the normal internet spectator live stream viewer, and reality. What you are watching is a very real person. FouseyTube is a real human being having an actual mental health breakdown. A complete collapse of mental health. And people are just celebrating it and can't wait for him to come back and are praying that he doesn't take medication. He also mentioned during his stream that he hasn't been taking any of his mental health medication for the last 2 days, and he had apparently not slept for 2 days either, and people love it. People can't wait for more of it, and I just find that so fucking sad. I really do. I don't think there's anything goofy about it. Fousey is unfortunately not only being encouraged by his audience that's treating him like some kind of circus show, he's also being encouraged by other streamers in the real world that keep patting him on the ass and pushing him to keep doing this kind of shit. He is surrounded by parasites, these fucking leeches that are latching on to Fousey's ass like a goddamn hemorrhoid in order to suckle some clout out from under him. So he's blown up from all of this. So a lot of other streamers have started trying to be all buddy-buddy with him, like, hey, we're such good pals, Fousey, you're doing great, let me in your content. So they keep forcing themselves into Fousey's life so they can broadcast themselves to promote themselves through him, without ever actually caring about him as a friend. No one is actually helping him get what he needs. He is clearly going through a legitimate mental health crisis. Fousey has been very open and honest in the past about the mental health struggles that he has. He has legitimate mental illness. And nobody around him seems to care. They only care that he keeps bringing in big numbers, which help them. There was a moment right before he was arrested where Aiden Ross called him and told him to, like, calm down and go to sleep. And that is more than a lot of other people in his life have done for him, but that is still, like, the bare minimum. Like, that is, like, very easy to do stuff. That's not help Fousey needs. What he needs is someone that's willing to do the hard stuff. Turn his fucking stream off. Take his phone away. Take his camera away. He needs to be disconnected from the internet, and he actually needs legitimate professional help. That's the hard thing that no one's willing to do. But it's what he needs. That is 100% the only thing that will help him. But no one does it. Like, again, there are a couple people, it wasn't just Aiden, that are like, hey, Fousey, just calm down, go to bed, it's not that big of a deal. But he's not going to do that. He is in a actual manic state. He's not just going to stop and go to sleep because you asked him nicely. You need someone that is actually caring about him to take all of that away and get him to where he needs to go, to a professional. And also, a lot of other people pointed this out too. The platforms can also do something. Kick could have absolutely suspended the stream. They could have, and that would have been an invaluable help to him. But they don't, because he brings in so many viewers and so much attention, and that's what the world seems to run on these days. So all the people in his life and everything and everyone around him is just a yes man that encourages this destructive behavior. And it's only going to get worse if he's allowed to keep doing this without anyone actually stepping up to help him. I think it is fucking tragic. So I don't think it's goofy. I don't think it's silly. I wanted to briefly talk about it because I keep getting asked about it because so many people seem to think that it is goofy and silly. And I just completely disagree. So I just wanted to talk about this a little bit. That's really about it. So yeah.